Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Brock Beard from lastcar.info, getting you ready for another race watch-along tonight. Tonight, the 1992 Bud 500 at Bristol, the first ever race at the Bristol Motor Speedway with the concrete track surface here. So just like we did last time with the Pepsi 400 live stream, and again, big thanks everybody for turning out on that. We're going to do a little bit of behind the scenes here to kind of lead into the race itself, give you a little bit of extra context for the race tonight. Got a little something for show and tell here as well. So we'll kind of do that and we'll jump into the race here in just a few minutes. First of all, once again, thank you so much everyone for tuning in to the one last week. Big thanks to Desert Fox for coming up with the idea of doing the 98 Daytona night race there. We had a great stream there on Friday. Looking to do a few more of these here before the season gets going again, and we'll probably have some more information on that pretty soon here as well. Right now, what I'm thinking of is doing one tonight and doing another one this Friday, and probably the same next week as well before we get into the series returning at Richmond. So we'll go ahead and we'll go into the storylines here. So we're going to do the August race at Bristol. So again, this is the 1992 season, famous for the Fan Appreciation Tour, of course, the final season for the great Richard Petty, entering its closing weeks at this point, of course, during the regular season here, but very close to the time of year that we would have the playoffs these days. We've already had a year that's had all, a lot of the major storylines have already played out at this point, including a tumultuous weekend at Michigan just days earlier, where we saw the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. The highs being Harry Gant setting a record that is still set today as the oldest race winner of a Cup Series race when he won on a fuel mileage event. I believe he beat Darrell Waltrip in the closing stages of that event there to pull off a win. Turned out to be the last win of Gant's career. He of the 4 straight wins in the 1991 season, Mr. September himself, heading into Bristol on a very much momentum coming into this event here as well. But the lowest of lows at the same time, it was that same August weekend at Michigan where we lost Clifford Allison in a tragic practice accident. His brother Davey Allison, of course, going for the championship at the time, had a strong run out there, showing tremendous resilience under just an awful circumstance. And Davey having a good, solid finish in there. However, Harry Gant pulling off the victory at that point. But we got the Bristol race coming up here at the same time. This was a lot of anticipation coming into this event as well. Kind of similar to what we were talking about the Daytona race last weekend there. A lot of unknowns with this concrete surface that Larry Carrier had put into place on the Bristol Motor Speedway. As I mentioned in After Allen, there were concerns about the surface coming up when it had the old asphalt surface, the one that Dale Jr. speaks very highly of, and understandably so. You watch some of the old races from there, and perhaps we'll do a watch-along of one of those to kind of give you a comparison here further along. Just a completely different type of racing with the cars skating around the track on those bias ply tires. But then this concrete surface was very rough for teams that were actually testing out there earlier in the week. It was not really as smooth as perhaps would have been anticipated here. Keep in mind, this is before Dover was repaved as well, back at a time when it still ran an asphalt surface there, well before we ever had the Nashville Speedway, of course, which came out much later there at the same time. I kind of want to pull up, let's see, I got a couple tabs here. Let me get another one here for you guys, and we'll kind of give you a little bit more context going into the season. I have an article pulled up here, too, that I think will be kind of a fun thing to go into. But this was at the time, this was the 20th race of a 29-race schedule. So, again, very close to the end of the season here. Looking into the event. Whoop, hang on, we'll get the right race here pulled up. Mentioning Harry Gant's win, he started from 24th position in that race, winning after leading 23 laps in that event there. And the points, we got to get the point standings here, too, to kind of lead into it. Of course, the broadcast will also lead into that, too. Bill Elliott was still your point leader after winning 4 straight races in the spring after the Daytona 500, where he and Sterling Marlin were involved in a wreck with Ernie Irvan after a rain caution in the middle stages of the race. Elliott is still at this point in command, but only by 37 points over Davey Allison, who, despite his serious accident at Pocono, suffered in just a month before this race, and having Bobby Hillen take his place over at Talladega, having Dorsey Schrader help him out over at Watkins Glen. Davy's back in the car again for this race and looking to really kind of close out as best he can, potentially taking the lead from Elliott. Elliott himself had his 4-race streak busted by this race in the spring. Elliott involved in an accident in the early stages of the event that dropped him well back in the running order there. And Alan Kawicki, of course, pulled off the victory there. The last race were on the old surface there. That was one, again, mentioned in After Allen, the first laps that Dale Jarrett led for Joe Gibbs Racing. So the first laps Joe Gibbs Racing led in competition. At this point, they had still not scored their first victory, but again, another driver potentially hoping to get a good run out there. But Davey Allison, 37 points behind Bill Elliott. This under the old Bob Latford system, which is actually pretty close, really, by those measures there. Harry Gant, coming off his win at Michigan, moved to third in the point standings ahead of Alan Kawicki. Gant was 135 points back, and Kawicki 143 back. These all the drivers that were mathematically in contention to be within striking distance of the leader, at least within one race, where you could have about a 150-point swing thereabouts under the old system there. So again, the three principals in the Hooters 500 had very much made a claim for themselves in the top four of the standings here, with Kawicki, again, about 8 points behind Gant coming into this event here, too. Mark Martin rounding out the top five. Dale Jarrett, mentioning him earlier, he's back in the 20th position in points after the race at Michigan. And Dale Earnhardt, having a very off season, had by this point only won the Coca-Cola 600, having a frustrating year in what was the last season that he had Kirk Shelmerdine as crew chief. The same Kirk Shelmerdine you've seen in Rise of the Field Fillers, of course. Earnhardt came into this race 10th in the point standings, 396 behind, including 1 point behind Terry Labonte, who was driving for Billy Hagan that year. So a lot of nervousness coming into this race. Todd Bodine had won the Busch Series race at this track the night before. Qualifying was done in 2 rounds. The top 15 drivers in qualifying were determined on Friday. The rest of the field was actually not set until the day of the race. They had a second round qualifying the same day, so anybody that was going to have any trouble in that session would have a very short turnaround time to get their cars back in the show. But on the pole was Ernie Irvan in the Kodak Film Chevrolet, returning to the scene of his first Cup Series win 2 years earlier, of course, back on the old surface. Ricky Rudd on the outside pole, Brett Bodine in third, Mark Martin fourth, and Alan Kawicki, again, the spring race winner, in the 5th spot. Among the other contenders for the championship, Davey Allison rolled off in the 7th spot there, right behind Ken Schrader. And Davey Allison in 7th, and Bill Elliott outside the top 15 in these orders here. Jimmy Hensley, however, driving for Cale Yarborough at the time, was a top qualified rookie in the 12th spot. This was during a very lopsided Rookie of the Year battle, where he was one of very few contenders in here. Another thing I brought out here at the same time, I brought out an article that was published. Let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the second screen so you can kind of see this here, and we'll jump into this. So kind of some interesting articles. Where was the source of this again here? The Danville Register and Bee had a series of quotes. A couple you'll notice right off the bat. On the top right here, it's bringing up the ongoing lawsuit that Imogene McDuffie filed against NASCAR after the tragic death of her husband, JD, at Watkins Glen the previous year. So some discussion about it here. Bill Dyer, who authored this segment here, says, racing fatalities are hard to deal with, and those who choose to compete are made aware of those dangers. There's no such thing as a safe racetrack or a safe race car. Those who compete face that reality each time they choose to climb into a race car. So again, a lot of controversy over that at the time. Here on this left section here are some quotes here from a lot of the drivers about the new surface at Bristol. It's pretty rough, says Alan Kawicki. It's like running on a washboard. The tires chatter, and it's real difficult to get the car turned straight coming off the turns. But I think the more we run, the better it will get. And another one that I want to certainly highlight here is right at the end of the segment. It says Darrell Waltrip, of course, he of being so dominant at Bristol in just about any format, especially back in the 1980s, quoted here saying, the track is rough, but I am a pro and I will overcome it. That will certainly be a story to follow in this race here too. Looking down here, this section I think was the most interesting. This one here in the bottom left is a section of unconfirmed rumors. So I kind of want to go through this because I think these are really interesting and also gives you kind of an idea of this. Some of these I think actually did come true, but some of these did not. So I'll kind of go through them here. So the first one, Exxon will not return as an associate sponsor of the two Rick Hendrick Chevrolets next year, for which Kenny Schrader and Ricky Rudd drive. I believe that was the case. I don't know if they came back in 1993. Obviously, Hendrick Motorsports had multiple different partners over the years, but that would be one story there. Another one is an interesting one, talking about Richard Petty, of course, about his retirement tour. Says it's a done deal that McDonald's will sponsor the new Richard Petty team in 1993 with road racer Tommy Kendall at the wheel. Kendall was rumored to be driving the Petty team the next year. That ultimately didn't turn out to be the case. He had Rick Wilson step in, and STP, of course, stayed as sponsor, whereas McDonald's would go over to Junior Johnson's team. But interesting to see that this was at least something that was tossed around as late as August of 1992. Brett Bodine and Kenny Bernstein in Quaker State looking to a new contract for 1993. That ultimately happened. Snickers staying with the Stavola brothers with Dick Trickle. That ultimately happened too. It's interesting. The section says unconfirmed is an old way of saying garbage in terms of this section here. I guess believing a lot of these rumors weren't going to be true, but these are actually pretty spot on in most cases. Lake Speed and Purex will team for 15 Winston Cup races in 93. I don't know if he did that many, but he definitely did some. Sterling Marlin is out, and Maxwell House Coffee will not return as the major sponsor, the second Junior Johnson Ford Thunderbird in 93. Ultimately, the sponsor stayed, but the whole team moved over to Bill Davis. You saw that picture of that diecast the other day on the Twitter feed. It was kind of a lateral change there when Bill Davis got into the Cup Series, still ran the number 22, but with his own distinctive font, the same paint scheme, but brought Bobby Labonte into the Cup Series after, of course, Jeff Gordon got picked up by Hendrick Motorsports. We got Busch Grand National driver Robert Presley will switch from Oldsmobile to Chevrolets in 93, and despite frequent reports, will remain in the Busch Series. There's one at the bottom here mentioning Jeff Gordon, and DuPont will sponsor the new Jeff Gordon, Rick Hendrick Winston Cup team in 1993. Now, probably the most interesting one here right above it, I don't know, this is the first I'd ever seen this. Chrysler officials are lobbying for NASCAR approval of their four-door Dodge Intrepid for use in the Winston Cup Series in 1993, since their two-door version of the Intrepid will not be ready for use until after the 93 season begins. Didn't realize that there were rumblings about Chrysler getting back into the sport well before 2001. I don't know how the source of this here outside of this article here. Honestly, I got to kind of brush up on my automotive history. I don't know what a 1993 Intrepid would look like. It sounds like the concept of having a four-door car adopted into the Cup Series was something still pretty unthinkable at the time, but well before the deal with Don Miller and the Taurus there in 98. But still, kind of interesting to see a story come up here at the same time. Oh, Brian, thank you for tuning in tonight. You were in the middle of turn 1 and 2 that night. Oh, man, but hey, maybe we'll see you on screen here, so that'll be exciting. So we'll check out. We're going to jump into the race here in just a moment. So I figured I'd show you that there too. Also a little bit of fun thing here too. This is a quilt my mother made back in 1992. I know you see a lot of the quilts here in the background, but this one was made in December of 92. So you got kind of pictures of kind of a small town deal here. So kind of give you another idea of other things going on behind the scenes. Another thing I want to kind of show here too. So again, mentioning the Fan Appreciation Tour in the 1992 season, of course, I did want to bring out this. So they had diecast produced of every race in the 1992 season. This was the Bristol Night Race version of the Fan Appreciation Tour diecast. So I want to kind of show that on screen here with the card there. It was fascinating. With Harry Gant, a couple years later, they just did one for each track. But for Petty, they produced one of these for each race, and having the actual logo for the racetrack on the hood of the car. These are always really fascinating. I know there's I'm sure, thousands, if not more, of these out in circulation, but always kind of interesting to see how they produced it, putting the date of the race on the back there, and just the interesting detail. It's interesting that, again, you're kind of talking more and more about quality control or just changes over the years. Even the way they kind of printed the number on the car changed from one of these to the other. This one with a kind of a bold black outline, whereas others kind of had the blue. But kind of an interesting look back there at what was out there. And so undoubtedly a lot of these circulating in the grandstands there that weekend. So, with that, let's go ahead and jump into the race here. We will go over to the watch along and we will find out. Again, we're going to use the NASCAR Classics version. So if you have not bookmarked classics.nascar.com on your webpage, definitely make sure you do. And we will be watching the race together here. So stay tuned, folks. We'll get started here in just a moment. And let's make sure the volume is cranked up here because this is going to be an ESPN broadcast. We did TNN last time for the Daytona night race. This will be a classic ESPN event here. This is one of the many tracks that the network had picked up since they joined the sport in 1981. And you'll get a very interesting view of how different the track looked back then. So here we go. Stand by, everyone.
The world's leader in motorsports coverage presents Speed World. Tonight, live from Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee, it's the NASCAR Winston Cup Bud 500. And the weather is absolutely beautiful here in Northeast Tennessee. Temperature 69 degrees, skies are clear, and there is no chance of rain. Good evening, everybody.
Fantastic.
I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome to Bristol International Raceway. Now, we've always had a special arrangement with Bristol International Raceway, and the announcement earlier tonight that we will televise races into the 21st century here, and we couldn't be happier about that. Now let's talk about tonight's race. The quest for the Cup standing shows us that Davey Allison is 37 points behind the leader in the quest for the Cup standings, Bill Elliott. Harry Gant is third, Alan Kulwicki fourth, and Mark Martin is fifth. Now, the standings in the Busch Grand National Division were jumbled last night after their race here, and the Winston Cup standings could do the same tonight. The reason is because the drivers are competing on a surface that is totally foreign to them. For more on that, let's go to Pit Road and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, Bob, and hello, everyone. You know, it took a lot of courage and over $750,000 for Bristol International Raceway promoter Larry Carrier to turn the world's fastest half-mile facility into a concrete arena. But after 3 paving jobs, which were not to his satisfaction, in fact, the pavement began to come apart, he said, I'm going to put concrete down. And many drivers believe that it's the wave of the future. 250
Look how
laps
rough
last
that
night.
looks already.
The surface may be a little bit rough, but
it's
it
just
didn't
a little.
come apart. That's exactly what they wanted. This track will be one of the best, if not already one of the best in America when it comes to 2- and 3-wide racing in years to come. But tonight, in the early laps, it may be a little bit rough. Roughness and some vibration may not bother some drivers, but one driver who's been injured, remember, that vibration could be a problem. And he's standing by with John Kernan.
Jerry, earlier this week, Davey Allison underwent a couple of surgical procedures on his wrist. They removed one of the pins. Davey, you've had
Hey there, Dave W. Thank you for tuning in.
To practice here, run some laps, feel the vibrations. How does the wrist feel?
Everything feels good right now, John. Haven't had any problems in practice at all. We did let Bobby Hillin go ahead and make a few laps just in case we ran into a problem during the race, but the outlook right now is to go ahead and run all 500 laps.
Davey Allison planning to tough it out tonight, guys, running all 500 laps. You know, this racetrack's always been physically demanding on the drivers, maybe even more so now, maybe also even more so
I didn't think about that, Brian, the expansion joints. I guess they were like large panels that they put on the track.
We've ever seen here tonight.
I know that was an issue in 2007.
These cars are really getting a great grip on the concrete. And it's going to be trying to throw those drivers out the right side net. It's going to be tough.
It really is going to be physically tough as well as mentally tough on them. You know, Benny, I drove this racetrack when the banking was 22 degrees. I thought it was tough back then, but you've driven it since they rebanked it to 36 degrees now.
I'm telling you, it kills your neck. You just tries to throw your head out the right side, out the right window, and you're trying to hold your neck up. It really hurts the neck.
I'll tell you, it's not only tough on the race drivers, it's tough on the race cars, too. We'll see teams that have a lot of parts laid out, chassis parts, figuring that they might break here tonight because of the roughness. Could be even springs, but more than likely A-frames or steering parts and things of that nature. They'll be prepared for it, but the chassis of the race car does take a beating.
All that. One more thing we've got to talk about. Tonight, for the first time, they're using the radial tire, and that tire is really hooking up, getting a great grip. It's going to be an exciting evening.
Oh, goodness. See, the continual phasing in of the radial tire, much as that had been an issue at 91 at the road courses. Got Richard Petty staged up front.
Very tight and very demanding half-mile racetrack.
Fantastic.
At Bristol International Raceway. Our Speed World coverage of the Bud 500 is being brought to you by Ford.
God, I just love these old graphics. It's so good. And the music, of course.
Ram oil filters. Ram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires. Well, the engines have been fired, and in just a moment, we'll come back and introduce the 32 drivers that will challenge this racetrack tonight at Bristol, Tennessee. We'll be right back. Is coming up in today's race. The driver leading at the halfway point will win $10,000, and a fan at home will have a chance to win a beautiful Chevrolet Lumina.
This will be fun. Try not to look up the race results. Try to make your pick for the Gillette Halfway Challenge. Who do you think's going to lead lap 250 of this race?
If you enter into the contest,
you have till November 14th, 1992 to get your votes in. But try to vote in the chat. Who do you think's going to lead at halfway? We'll get the starting lineup in just a moment.
Petersburg, Florida, 337312246. You must be 18 years of age or older, and we must receive your entry by Saturday, September 5th to be eligible for next week's Gillette Halfway Challenge. Well, there are the cars lined up ready to go, and here is the die-hard starting lineup. A new event record from Ernie Irvin, 120.535. He'll start on the pole in the #4 Kodak Film Chevrolet. Ricky Rudd will start alongside in the #5 Tide Chevrolet. Going to row #2, it's Brett Bodine in the #26 Quaker State Ford, flanked by the Valvoline Ford #6, driven by Mark Martin. Alan Kulwicki, the defending champion, going for 3 in a row tonight, and the Hooters Ford will start in 5th position in car 7. Ken Schrader in the Kodiak Chevrolet starts from 6th position.
Always love this grid format. I always wish they would the whole field, but unfortunately, usually only did the first 7 rows.
Genuine draft Pontiac car #2, driven by Rusty Wallace. The 5th row consists of Darrell Waltrip.
There you go, just the first 4 rows.
Chevrolet car #17 and Dick Trickle. The 6th row, Jeff Bodine and Jimmy Hensley. In row #7, it's Hut Strickland and Dale Jarrett. Morgan Shepherd and Harry Gant make up row #8. The 9th row, Derry Cope and Terry Labonte. Bill Elliott and Dave Marcus start in row #10. And as you look at the rest of the starting lineup, notice that Winston Cup defending champion Dale Earnhardt back in the inside of row #12 and the rest of the field.
Some awfully good cars starting way back in the field here, Bob, and that means that they're pitting on the backstretch.
32 cars on the grid. I don't believe they're running DNQs for this. I got to look that up. 92, or you call, had some field fillers, because there weren't enough cars for most of the races that year.
Take a look a little bit more closely at this racetrack. It's 0.533 miles in length, 120.5 the pole speed, time 15.9 seconds. 500 laps we go, and the field is separated by just about 3/4 of a second. Bristol International Raceway, as Ned indicated, has pits both on the front and on the back. The turns are banked at 36 degrees, and the trouble spots are going to be entering turn #1 and coming out of turn #2. Those are the places that we will be watching as they go into and out of the corners. The 36 degrees of banking, and on the
yes, there was just one DNQ for this Mike Potter driving the number 77. So the same Mike Potter from the video on this channel. If you want to learn more about him, the Canova construction injury. Missed the show.
Jimmy Hensley's car. This is Dale Jarrett's Interstate Battery car. Also a camera tonight in Morgan Shepherd's.
Yes, the Sloth Nerd. This is a really bizarre one. Yeah, Dave Marcus being switched out of the 71 with solder, and then there were other times that Marcus drove the number 41 for the Larry Hendrick team. A little bit of shuffling on there.
I was watching that telemetry.
I may do something more on that story in a future video, so stay tuned on that. And just like that, we're going green.
And we're going green. Here's the green flag. The Bud 500 is on.
Ooh, Davey didn't get a very good start. Oh, that's such a good camera angle.
Got through the first lap without a problem. The leader is Ernie Irvin, and this is looking.
Man, look how rough that looks, especially in the corners.
And now back out of Morgan Shepherd's car, back to Derry Cope.
Oof.
And these cars are really zinging around this racetrack. I'm talking about 135 miles an hour down the straightaway. The slowest speed was like 106 miles per hour. Here it is. What a great picture.
No kidding. From high overhead in our helicopter. Looks like a video game.
Boy, everybody got single file as quickly as they could because the inside groove.
Oh my goodness!
The only car running on the outside there too.
I love those old brake ducts on the old cars too. It just gives the cars so much personality. No two teams are the same.
Was out there as well. He's getting back in single file now too. The low groove is going to be the place to be for a while, Bob.
Ernie Irvan, the leader of the race. Ricky Rudd is running second, then Brett Bodine, Mark Martin, Alan Kulwicki, Ken Schrader, Rusty Wallace, Davey Allison, and Darrell Waltrip.
The track had been ground. Okay, good. Oh, yeah, thank you, Brian. It does look, yeah, like they were trying to do something.
A little bit from Bodine in the Ford.
It's amazing it's still that rough, though. I mean, did it look that rough in person?
Here is Morgan Shepherd that is caught on the outside of the racetrack and is losing positions. There's Dale Jarrett going to the
inside. Jarvis Camargo. Yep, the Dale Jarrett's in the Interstate Batteries car. First year driving for Joe Gibbs. First year of the Gibbs team.
Because the train was about to go by.
Terry Labonte in an Oldsmobile there. That team changed manufacturers a lot that season. Chevys, Fords, everything in between. Oh, no.
Ernie Irvan has crashed. He has spun on the backstretch and made contact with the inside pit wall.
And he can't get going until all this traffic goes by. But he is going to save.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of damage to the right side.
To the car. He made some contact with the right side.
And just like that, being up front, not much of a benefit.
The left side of the car looks pretty good, fellas, as he comes around. Take a look and see what happened.
Just coming off the second corner, and around it goes. Ricky Rudd not within a car length or two of the Kodak film Chevrolet, and he goes down and hits the wall pretty good for that right side, Ned.
Bob, you said that going into the turns, coming off would be the trouble spots. They say that it's somewhat.
That's right, 611 Hornet. Yep, they changed numbers and sponsors the next year. And they brought in Kellogg's Corn Flakes over to the team, the number 14.
Last night in the Busch Grand National event, and now it's the leader and pole sitter, Ernie Irvan. We're under caution for the first time. Just taken the green flag for resumption of competition. Ricky Rudd is now the leader, and while all
there's Alan Kulwicki lurking there in
the crew continues to work on that
fourth place.
On pit road after an early crash. Jerry punches there.
He came in to change right side tires, guys, and apparently the tie rod in the right front is broken. They're going to have to take the Kodak Chevrolet behind the wall.
Oh man, massive hit.
Time behind the wall here early at Bristol.
Well, Ernie Irvan had moved up so well in the Winston Cup point standings all the way to 7th, but this is certainly going to be a setback.
Dr. B.O. 97, yep. Morgan McClure back in Abingdon, Virginia. Your hometown, right on. Their home track made their last attempt at the Cup Series at this track, too.
Not only this race, but all the races remaining the rest of the year.
And Henderson, yep. Henderson's team still out there in the Truck Series.
22 car spins on the back straightaway. He's going down, and he misses the wall.
Just missed it. Sterling Marlin spins at almost the same point of the racetrack.
He's going to come right out. Well, he stayed down on the inside. I thought he's coming out in front of the leaders.
Like no caution on that. Oh, my goodness.
He got it turned around, and he, too, just comes off the second corner and without being touched or without any help at all, loses it.
Did that need to be a caution? Nah.
Wow. I mean, these guys are the best racers.
I mean, hey, Austin Cindric did that in Nashville, didn't he? Didn't he spin to the apron? We threw a caution for that. I'm starting to come around on that. I'm starting to think I wasn't half cocked on that when I said that shouldn't have been a caution. But whatever.
Still Ricky Rudd leading.
That's Derek Cope, Bud Strickland trying to get by Sterling Marlin now, and Derek's going to go on the outside.
Well, they don't really want to go on the outside, but Sterling Marlin, he knows he's supposed to be down on the
Adam Lemery is, last race at Riverside. Yeah, does that sound good to you guys? I was thinking of doing another one on Friday. I haven't firmly decided doing one. I want to do at least one Richmond race next week.
I was talking with Sterling Marlin. I asked him about the bumps out on the racetrack. He said he was having a little bit of problem coming off of the corners, especially with the radial tires. He said it felt like the car, the rear end really wanted to kick around on him, and apparently that is what happened just a few moments ago.
Perhaps with both him and Ernie Irvan.
Notice with the Olympics, you have all the cars with the Olympic logos on them there for the Barcelona Olympics.
Leading this race.
The Dick Trickle number 8 car and the Davey Allison car both have them. Whoa! Oh!
Kyle Petty goes around.
Just chaos.
Hit the wall. He didn't spin completely around. He kept going.
And it looks so treacherous out there. I mean, it is Bristol, but man, oh man.
The caution flag is out.
Marlin has some damage to the rear end of that car. He's going to go to his pit on the backstretch. Everybody else that was involved kept going.
And I think he's
There's a country time crew. You can see the Lemonade Brigade with the yellow hats and the pink, black, and yellow uniforms there.
Some action here in the first 21 laps, and here's how it happened.
Well, Sterling moved down for other drivers.
Oh, Sterling's already loose there.
Pass on the outside, and he got a little bit wobbly going into the turn, went up into Jarrett. You see Jarrett gets on the outside wall there, does some damage.
I love those sponsors on the pavement right behind the wall. That's great.
Morgan Shepherd narrowly avoided, and so did Jimmy Spencer to the bottom of the racetrack.
Kyle Petty made some contact, but Sterling Marlin loses control now just as he starts in the corner. See, he loses the back end just as he goes in the corner. You'll see Dale Jarrett. He made a little bit of contact, but I don't think the contact that Kyle Petty made is going to hurt anything.
Gosh, Kyle, I mean, that bright green just looks so much better like dusk here in this race. Just gorgeous. Oh, not good to lose the wheel there.
Initially assessed here, apparently the right lower A-frame is broken. They're worried about the spindle and the tie rod as they still work on the Kodak Chevrolet behind the wall. Ernie sitting in the car rather patiently. Ernie, what happened out there?
Well, you know, the guys gave me a good race car, and I just screwed up, got a little loose coming off too, and just got out from under me.
One of a series of problems early in the race here at Bristol, but a lot of honesty from a young driver, Ernie Irvin. Let's go to the backstretch where John Kernan is standing by in the Kyle Petty pit. John?
Kyle Petty has just changed
that Pennzoil car. Gorgeous. Just love these paint schemes.
Michael Waltrip is also in for tire change as well. Don't see any damage on the left side of Michael's car. Mark Martin is also on pit road. Jerry?
And Mark Martin breaks the car down pit road. He is leaving now, the Valvoline crew.
I'm with you, Dr. B097. Yeah, the inflatable beer cans and everything is great.
So some wild action in the early laps here at Bristol International.
Pretty intense last place battle there. Marlin and Irvin battling for it already.
Back to more from Bristol after
and Jarrett now with the loose wheel.
Dick Trickle's car looking back on the crash that just occurred.
Man, this
Marlin and Dale Jarrett.
Video quality is just so good.
You see them making contact, heading up the wall, banging off of it, and now we are going back to green flag competition.
Oh, Jarrett's still got a big problem.
Ricky Rudd takes off.
About to get run over by Rusty here.
Alongside Rudd, but I don't think he can do that under the NASCAR rules, so he's now falling back to the end of the pack.
Rudd leads over Brett Bodine, Alan Kowicki, Schrader, Allison, and then Waltrip in the first 6.
Mark Martin, who was running, what, third in the race before that, made a couple of pit stops. Jerry Bunch, you have any idea what was going on down there?
Kenny, they had some ductwork dragging from beneath the car, and NASCAR black flatter brought them back in and made them tire out that duct up underneath the car so it wouldn't come loose, but otherwise the car is mechanically intact.
Very good. But he lost some valuable track position.
He's running well toward the back of the pack, trying to come back up through. But
Richard Petty in the 23rd spot.
About a half a lap behind the leader as we take a look at the Grand Field summary. Ernie Irvin is
I love this old leaderboard, though. Nice, big, easy-to-read print, showing cars laps down. Great.
Leads after 30 laps. Here's Mark Martin and Kyle Petty.
Still say that STP car is best-looking paint scheme ever. Look how much it just stands out. I mean, Kyle's car definitely does too, don't get me wrong. But Richard's, oh my goodness.
And we get a report from John Kernan.
Bob, Kyle Petty, when he
oh wow,
they had to
got a lot of damage.
3 times under that caution. I'm not sure that they got everything fixed, but he had a lot of damage on the left rear. The trunk lid was pushed up. As a result, the spoiler on the rear end, which is in 2 pieces, the left side was bent up just a little bit.
Look how bright that green is, just gorgeous.
Then the right side, they had to beat that down and also pull a lot of the sheet metal out of the way.
Brian say, yeah, the noise in the infield is hard to describe. I can't even imagine. And and ear protection probably wasn't even that good back then. Did you have to just get the actual, just like big ear muffs down there? I mean, you have to, otherwise you just not gonna be able to hear anything. Earnhardt back in the order there. Good question, Jarvis Camargo. Yeah, it's This is he's not having a good season during this year. I think he started like the 13th row, so he's going to be well back in the order.
Larry Cope leading a string of cars.
There he is.
That also includes Dick Trickle and Bill Elliott and Dale Earnhardt and Harry Gant.
You can see the back end of Cope's car kick out just a little bit in the turns, but boy, he's getting off of the turns well. Look how much he pulled Trickle coming off of that turn. But right here is where
the radios. There you go. That makes sense.
12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th is what we're watching.
Harry Gant moved in the back of that pack.
Right behind Gant is the 66 car.
Jimmy Hensley.
Here's our in-car camera in Hensley's car.
Oh, Rob, was they picked that shade of green for United as the sponsor? I didn't know that.
He's going to try it again on the
I know I've heard the company, but I didn't know that the green was like kind of their color. I figured it was more just the mellow yellow deal. Although it is a much brighter green than what you see in like Days of Thunder. I mean, it looks so much better. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous.
Here comes Trickle on the inside of Cope.
Bill Elliott's right behind Trickle.
Dick Trickle's Snickers car is a really nice paint scheme. Really good.
Side by side and run that way all the way through the corner. Now down the back.
Has there been a throwback to that yet? They did the Bobby Hillin one.
Yeah, Cope made a pretty good corner through 1 and 2 on the outside, but
the speed up there is just not quite as good as it is down on the low groove. Now NASCAR put some cones above.
I like how they put a brighter green on Hensley's car. Usually that was a darker, like black and red or something. This is more like green here.
Slower up there than they were down in the bottom groove.
And we see Kobe just cannot go. He's drifting back. He's lost about 4 or 5 spots quickly.
Just a perfect example of how you don't want that outside line. Jimmy Spencer is joining this fight here in that.
Here comes the Country Time car.
First Winston Cup race Spencer has run in quite a while. Boy, Kobe is out there. He just can't get back down.
It's like must be the Moroso entry there.
Shot. It gives you an idea of the roughness of the
There you go,
surface.
Hamilton trying to take a look.
The drivers have their hands full tonight for the next
Oh boy.
450 laps.
Looks like Spencer trying to pick on our camera.
Now Jimmy looks to the outside, but nope. Knows
It's yellow on the 66? Okay, yeah. I'm colorblind here, man, but thanks for catching that. Now you mentioned it, yeah, it looks more like yellow.
And he makes the pass work.
Oh, boy.
Loses it, and so does Bobby Hamilton.
A much brighter yellow on the Hamilton car, for sure. You're right, yeah. Hensley's is much closer to the 41's yellow, kind of looks like.
Now you will see Dave's regular mount, the 71 in tonight's race, and that's being driven by Jim Sauter. But Dave Marcus is in the Hedrick car, the 41 machine that has been driven most of the year by Greg Sachs.
Never seen Mark Martin, who had that.
Oh, they put Marcus in it. Interesting.
Jerry Punch reported, had to make a pit stop, go all the way to the end of the field, trying desperately to get back to the front. But it's a struggle this early in the race to get through this traffic.
Looking back from Morgan Shepherd's car to Mark Martin.
Get the old radio antenna twanging off the back of the Shepherd car there. It's back when the onboard camera has to be this like large box on the back of the. You can see it on sitting up on the 21 like a little fin. It's amazing how much. I mean, that's about how small you can make a camera in '92.
Realize these cars are much faster than he is.
And as they do that, use that second groove, Benny, they'll eventually get it, I believe, to where they'll be able to run up there.
Yeah, I would think after the last half of the race, Ned, we'll see some good side-by-side racing.
Ricky Rudd, the leader of the race in the Times Chevrolet, car number 5, is approaching some slower traffic. He's already put a lap on Jim.
That makes sense, Brian. Yeah, Harry Hyde being the crew chief for Dave.
Jimmy Means, then Wally
He's crew chief for the 41. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
There's the
It's interesting that they would want to partner up. I need to do more digging on that story. That's another one that, yeah, I may develop more, because that team in particular, the Hedrick team, I think is an interesting team in the sports history. Fond memories of that 41 car.
The sun begins to go down behind the mountain. The lights begin to show their stuff, and the Winston Cup drivers are continuing to battle it out in the Bud 500. We'll be right back.
Davey hanging on to 5th.
Back at Bristol International Raceway, we're riding in Dick Trickle's number 8
Love the old
Snickers Ford.
leaderboard there.
The telemetry. Watch the RPMs in the upper right and the speed up to 129.
Rusty Wallace directly in front of him. Go down the front straightaway, 131 miles per hour.
The old telemetry there. I just love that.
Fast on a half-a-mile track.
Sure is.
Oof, boy.
See how slow he
See
gets
how
down
crowded
in the
you get on Rusty here.
116, 105, 197
Boy,
miles
Trickle's
per
got to
hour.
have a great car if
this
he's working
afternoon,
Rusty over that much.
fresh tires on 105 miles per hour, so we can see how the tires are slowing down.
Well, he's opening the bottom.
Rusty looks like he's holding Trickle up just a little bit, but Trickle just can't seem to get the inside position. He may
There you
have
go. He keeps washing up.
Rusty is 9th, Trickle 10th. Let's see if he can pick up the 9th position. Trickle, as they go into turn 1, he will because of the lower through. Trickle is now 9th.
Good pass.
Rusty slides up the racetrack and loses not only 1, but
Elliot
2
Earnhardt,
positions
Gant.
as
It's like Terry
Dale
Labonte maybe
Earnhardt
behind
now
him.
takes 1 away. Meanwhile, back 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Here's Bodine, Kowicki, and
Hey there, Andrew. Thank you for tuning in.
5th and 6th. There's Davey Allison 5th.
Yeah, Jim Sauter in the 71, I believe, in this one. Towards the back. This is also the race where Jimmy Means is sponsored by Taco Bell. You probably will see that car at some point. We haven't seen it yet in this broadcast, but when they catch lap traffic, you will.
He's running very well, but another thing that works to his advantage when he catches the lap traffic, of course, they're given the move over.
I always like this version of Ricky Rudd's car because that 5 is almost the same as like the logo for our CBS affiliate here in Northern California.
A lot of concern, guys, about the cards notwithstanding the beating tonight. So Gary Dehart, the crew chief for Ricky Rudd, has radioed Ricky to sort of back off a little bit on the pace, and thus Ricky is trying to back down the time a little bit, try to conserve the car here in the early laps at Bristol.
Well, that's not an easy thing to do, is it, when the car's working so well, as obviously Ricky's is.
That's one of those deals. The slower you go, the faster you get.
There's the interval between 1st and 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And as you can see, it is a nose-to-tail battle. 6 cars are running right together.
Davey Allison pulls up on the back of Schrader's car. I think right now that probably Schrader, Allison, and Jeff Bodine is probably faster than Brett Bodine and Alan Kowicki. They're behind, and their job is to get in front. And that's why they call it a race.
It's tough to get in front.
Yeah, exactly.
Tough to pass.
Dick Trickle may have one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. A Big A Auto Parts.
Oh, he's chewing into that interval.
Laps 52 to 56. We timed those 5 consecutive laps, timing the leader Rudd and Trickle. And yeah, you can see that Trickle is consistently faster than Rudd and has reduced the interval from 7.9 seconds on the 52nd circuit to 6.8.
Ooh, Davey Allison got his car sideways coming up that 4th corner.
Davey working over Allen.
Almost lost control.
You know, guys, one of the things I noticed in the Busch Grand National race last night was that you can get a car more sideways on this surface than on the asphalt because it is abrasive and you can...
Ooh, who's that slow on the apron? Is that Means?
Apparently, the radial tires do...
Some white car there.
It's
not Schrader. Schrader's right up there.
Normally on the asphalt, the radial tire, once it breaks loose,
And the Means had a white car.
But you're right. Several times last night we saw cars get sideways, and they were able to straighten them out.
Almost see it clear enough.
The cement is the way to go.
Oh, Richard.
Rudd approaches Richard Petty and about to put a lap on Richard, who
one of the local stores trying to get the
Whoop, kind of jumped ahead a little bit.
store involved in
Still the best paint scheme I could think of.
looks like he's having some problems.
STP Pontiac is just so gorgeous. I mean,
his brakes have given way on it, Denny.
Boy, Schrader has been trying everything he can to get around Brett Bodine, and now he finally does it. Got a bite coming off the 2nd corner and went by Brett Bodine. And last week on Speed Week, we had a comment from Ken Schrader after he tested here at Bristol, and he said flat out, I like this surface.
Okay. Something smoking in the infield there.
Yeah, he needs working on after this.
That's right. If he didn't have an operation a couple of months ago, he would definitely have to have one after tonight.
There's Davey Allison running in 5th. Has Bobby Hillin standing by in relief, but he hopes that he doesn't have to use Bobby. And there is the leader in Winston Cup points, Bill Elliott, but he has his hands full with Jimmy Spencer.
Spencer just got by Dale Earnhardt just a couple of laps ago, and I'll tell you what, he is working on Elliott hard.
Jimmy Spencer is another driver who likes this racetrack. Remember last year, he led a long time in this race in the Travis Carter entry before he had some problems. But
that's right, he did.
Yeah, he was positioned to win. Of course, he was leading last night in the Busch race as well before he got
grilling some brats. Right on.
This is the Dick Barroso car. He goes inside of Bill Elliott, takes the position away as we go to pit road and John Kernan.
The Dick Barroso crew running a Ford for the first
I don't think
time
Allen's, well, let's see, champion with the fewest wins, fewest career wins, or fewest wins this season.
Ford Motors. Mark Reno,
As Benny Parsons just won
so well here,
once in a season. Matt Kenseth did too.
Intimidate him. Their strategy tonight, guys, let Jimmy run as hard as he wants because he usually does anyway.
That's true.
He led in the Busch Grand National race last night until being
good charge to the field
with Morgan Shepherd, and he is running well here tonight.
And you see in a lot of these old Bristol races, there's so many teams that Food City would jump on board as a primary sponsor. In fact, they sponsored Spencer when he drove for Travis Carter the previous year. But and you see a little bit of it today. I mean, the colleague teams, I think, had Food City as an associate sponsor when they had either the detergent cars or the Mountain Dew car. So it's good to see that they're so passionately involved in the sport. On top, of course, sponsoring the race, the spring race. Oh, Brian, yeah, great catch. Thank you. Yeah, Terry Labonte only won one race in '84. I didn't even think about that.
17.8. So they slowed down.
Said that too. I like it. Yeah, if there's smoke from the Country Time crew, they're able to have a lemonade with it. I like it.
Yeah, 15.91
Lemonade Brigade.
For Ernie Irvin, who set the record for this particular event.
And speaking of Ernie, for you fans of Ernie Irvin, he is still behind the wall. He crashed early while leading. And they're trying to get the car repaired to the point that he can return the action. Now we're going to time a lap by the leader, Ricky Rudd. He, too, is in clear traffic.
Yeah, Desert Fox, you should probably see it a little bit. I think Jimmy finished this race under power, pretty close to it. I think. I remember seeing this. I know there's one moment. We haven't got there yet. That looks familiar from this one. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to say anything about it.
17.5 seconds.
But it hasn't happened yet.
Rudd is your leader. Ken Schrader running second. Then Bodine, Alan Kowicki, and Davey Allison. 84 out of 500 laps have been completed here at Bristol International Raceway.
Capacity crowd.
In fact, right in front of Michael Walker.
Oh, he won 2 in '84?
Oh,
okay.
Top 10, but Rust is having a tough time.
Two of the fastest cars on the track right now are Dick Trickle and Jimmy Spencer. We're inside Trickle's car. Actually on top of it with the roof cam. They are running.
Yeah, there's a good picture of the Taco Bell car on Google. Hopefully we get a pretty good view of it here. They usually do like a through the field at some point here.
Really bottomed out going down the turn.
Well, so did Spencer's. A lot of sparks came from his car.
I meant Spencer. I think I said Trickle, but I really meant Spencer.
We're going to show you the snapshot from Jimmy Spencer. Started 29th. He has moved all the way up to 10th. And that is his highest position so far. His lowest has been 30th on lap 3. And Jimmy has not led a lap so far.
That's pretty strong on a one-groove racetrack, isn't it, Ned?
Yes, it is. It's very impressive. Another guy that's made a pretty good move up through there is Terry Labonte, who started 18th. He's now currently running 8th up there in the middle of that pack.
Wally Dallenbach on the outside of Spencer. Here's Mark Martin, Dallenbach's teammate in the Jack Roush stable.
Wally's lap down.
Mark Martin also doing a fine job. These cars are about 0.3 of a second quicker than the leader.
Really getting a lot of use out of the tires here.
Traffic, Bob, that will probably be
closer to the 2001 season. Really hard tire.
Get around when you got smoking track, you can really turn some good laps.
That's right, because now all of a sudden when they get by Trickle, if they do, then they've got other cars to worry about. There's Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Bodine, Brett Bodine, Davey Allison.
Zwicky has taken over third position, so Brett is fourth, Davey fifth, then Jeff Bodine and Darrell Waltrip.
And one of the winningest drivers here, or at least he won his first race here, has won several. Rusty Wallace just went a lap down. Rusty has struggled a little bit here tonight, currently running 24th.
Matter of fact, he won his first Winston Cup race here.
Surprising to see Rusty struggle here so much, but again, new surface. But some other people making the adjustment quite nicely.
You can see the Miller Pontiac is just not handling.
Mike Potter's car didn't have Jasper engines on it, Rob. Good guess with it being the 77. That was the Canova construction car that he ran. Same one, same team rather, Steve Below team that he qualified for the 500 that year. Oh, and it's there's Marcus.
41, the Kellogg's car.
He's sitting right back up a little bit, Dave. I mean, let off the brakes. I guess he did already. He would have thought of that.
He's on that portion of the track that is relatively flat there at the back end of the car, and then the high banking.
A gorgeous Pennzoil car.
Take the caution flag.
Rusty Wallace and Michael Waltrip were hoping to get around Ricky Rudd, but he beat him back to the flag, so they did not get back to the lead lap.
This caution comes on lap 103. It involves Dave Marcus in his first ride for this team.
I see why he didn't roll back, because the left rear's been up on that car. Looks like pretty good.
Beat up pretty good. First last place finisher of Sears Point when I was there. It was the team, not the driver, back when Sachs drove it.
Contact with the first turn wall and now sliding down the banking.
There's Ricky Rudd.
You said you were in 1 and 2, right, Brian? That was right in front of you, yeah?
On pit road. Here's Jerry.
And ordinarily under a caution flag, guys, you'd expect to see 4 tires change, but here you've seen how important track position might be. Everyone on pit road here in the front straightaway. Ricky Rudd, Ty Chevrolet, right behind him. Darrell Waltrip, the Western Auto Chevrolet. Everyone getting service. Rudd gets right side tires. Kenny Schrader is in, and Ricky Rudd out and away. Left side tires now going on Kenny Schrader's Kodiak Chevrolet. Many of the crews further down toward turn 4 taking all 4 tires on. Now the back pitch is coming in.
Oh, cool. Split view of the back pit. Oh, that's so cool.
And the work in the front straightaway pit is completed, and work now just getting started in the backstretch pits.
The speed limit on pit road is 35 miles an hour, so it is a slow ride down pit lane, but it's absolutely necessary because of the closeness.
Oh, fantastic.
Still trying to get Dave Marcus's car off the racetrack as pit stops have been completed here on the front stretch for the most part. And when the car is cleared, we'll be going back to more racing.
Oh, there we go, getting towed down the banking.
Completed here at Bristol. Back after this.
Look at that, just random gravel on the apron there in turns 1 and 2.
There's Jimmy Cox, who holds the stop and go sign at the end of pit road. Now, let's go back to our pit stops and see what happened.
Okay, here he is standing down on pit road. I covered him up a little bit with that mark as the cars start coming out of the pits. And you see he's out of the way. There's Brett Bodine coming out, no problem at all as far as Davey Allison comes out.
That's pretty far from where Earnhardt is.
A couple of other cars coming out. Here comes Dale
Earnhardt. Hang on.
He has to rush to get out of the way. You get out of Dale Earnhardt's way when he starts out the pit.
Oh, my goodness.
I would.
Close call.
To go back to green, Ricky Rudd will lead them down. Brett Bodine is now second.
Ooh, really slow start for Rusty.
And Mark Martin. Green once again.
He's got a transmission problem or something. Oh, look at the sunset. Oh, look at the skyline. Oh, it's so good. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Look, Darrell getting in line in front of Hensley.
Rusty Wallace had changed 4 tires, has made some adjustments, so he has visions of getting up there and getting his lap back. We'll see if that's a reality or a dream.
Oh, and a spin down in turn 4. Morgan Shepherd loops. I don't know whether this is going to cause a caution or not. He goes all the way around, does a complete 360, has the car running, no caution.
He gets back out. Here comes the leader, not too far behind him. He's going to have to hustle to stay in the lead lap.
Look how lit up the signs are. Oh, my goodness.
Nobody in front of him. If he didn't spot those tires too much, he might be able to stay out there. Ricky Rudd is about 15 comments behind him.
It just says Marcus Racing for solder there. See the question there, Rob. I don't know what the sponsor is, but he definitely has something on the hood.
Well, Morgan Shepherd's crew, the Wood Brothers, are a little bit unhappy right now. They think Kyle Petty tapped Morgan to send him spinning around. But the car is okay right now. Morgan is testing it out. He hasn't told Eddiewood yet, but they don't think there's any damage done to the race car.
Looks like he may lose a lap, though, because Rudd is pounding on the back door. We mentioned during our live speed week earlier tonight that he has re-signed with the Wood Brothers for one more year.
The Mannheim cars, yep. Colin, exactly. STG sponsored him for a bit, said Head. I don't know if they did in this race. It looked like a different logo on the hood of the car. STGs you usually see from pretty good from a distance. Tri-Cities Aviation, A79. Brian, yeah. I don't know. At least Racing Reference isn't showing it.
Inside of Rudd because he's really threatening to drive away. He only changed 2 tires, but still seems to have the fastest car on the racetrack when some of the competitors changed 4 tires.
Rudd is having a heck of a time putting a lap on Morgan. And in the meantime,
this is about the best I've ever seen Rudd at Bristol, because he never... I remember him struggling here a lot more. Except for the 99 race where he was right up there in the Earnhardt-Labonte battle. Got wrecked and still got like a top 5 out of it.
Down the front stretch. Meanwhile, just back of this, there's Trickle, Mark Martin, and Darrell Waltrip. 5th, 6th, and 7th here.
Darrell Waltrip will be tough before this race is over, fellas. In my opinion.
Ooh, boy, Martin.
11 times.
All over this triple. Here comes Brett. Brett Bodine reference.
Here's Rusty trying to get alongside.
Rise of the field filler star, Brett Bodine. To the lead in the Quaker Steak machine.
He backs off going into the turn. Says it's too early in the race to be doing that kind of thing.
A few laps ago, Morgan Shepherd. This is how it sounded.
Oh, fantastic, Michael Dye. It sounds awesome. Glad you're able to find some good stuff there. DEI autograph.
Yeah, sounds like you got tapped a little bit back there, maybe.
Junior, that's awesome.
Does a complete spin around. Keeps going.
And Rudd, those 2 tires that he changed in is starting to show up.
It's showing up definitely. Yeah, I think he needed all 4 tires, and I'm sure he realizes right now that he needed all 4 tires. Because it didn't take too long to get those right side ones heated up because they were having to do most of the work. And now it's showing up. Jerry Punch?
Ned, you're exactly right. Ricky Rudd has complained the car is very, very loose on the racetrack. And as rough as this track is in the early laps here, you cannot afford to have a loose race car. Rudd's going to have to back off and maybe hope for another yellow flag and come in and get some fresh left side tires.
It's amazing how much the exhaust pipes are hanging below the chassis of these cars.
Better back off too much because the next 15's not too far behind him. The next 5 anyway, 6. There's that bunch led by Dick Trickle.
Earnhardt's got things hooked up.
He started very far back in the pack, but yes, he is moving on up through there now. In fact, he started like 23rd.
And finally, Brett Bodine puts a lap on Morgan Shepherd. He spent many laps trying to get around it.
Oh, here we go.
Trouble for Terry Labonte. Apparently something has gone wrong with his car. He's coming into the pits. Well, he started into the pits and couldn't get in there. A lot of smoke coming from the car number 94.
Oh, no, not Terry.
Action here from the racetrack. Waltrip and Jeff Bodine and Mark Martin. And Jimmy Spencer.
I think Earnhardt was the winner in that deal because he came out ahead of all these cars. You can see him right up there. He's the front car in front of Dick Trickle. Or right behind Dick Trickle, I should say. In front of Darrell Waltrip.
Terry Labonte did take his car into the pit area behind the wall, apparently out of the race.
Wow. See if Terry gets the last spot from Irvin. I think they said Irvin was back out on track.
Significantly from his...
And Jared only lost a lap despite the wheel falling off the thing. Oh, Craig Lindcap, thank you for checking in here. Getting ready for night shifts. I'm glad I could have something for you to enjoy there on the way.
The leader, Brett Bodine. Second now is Davey, and third is Rudd.
And Darrell Waltrip just got by Dale Earnhardt for the next spot. What is that, 5th? Yep.
Has himself on the leaderboard.
Yeah, most likely going to do at least... Think about doing another one of these on Friday here.
But that is evidence of this was how they were running last lap.
And I know one of the 2 I'm thinking about maybe doing another 2 next week. I think next Friday I want to do a late 90s Richmond race. I want to do like in 98, like 98, 99, 2000, something, one of those three, spring or fall, either way. I think I want to see one with like the sealer, one of those really good ones.
Before the car, something went wrong.
Here we go. Marcus Irvin, 117 laps down, means 54 laps down. Yeah, maybe we won't see the 52.
Behind the wall now.
And Ernie Irvin is 117 laps behind at this point. Not listed as out of the race yet. He is still behind the wall with the car.
Yeah, Billy Hagan, Colin Darmody. Yeah, that was Darmody.
On the racetrack after his early crash.
Yeah, Billy Hagan with the Sunoco car. Ultra 94, I believe, was their fuel, so that's why they ran the 94 on the car.
We have completed 133 laps now of this Bud 500 from Bristol International Raceway. Jerry Punch back at Bristol International Raceway for the annual NASCAR Winston Cup race at night at Bristol International. Now the telemetry shows you what Dick Trickle is
Bad luck 22, right on.
Up to 129 that time. He's called Wally Diamondback.
Oh, it looks like a video game. It's graphic here.
The last 5 laps. And Jeff Bodine tries to dodge these guys. Here's Schrader trying to get by Bodine. They all backed off.
Schrader, rather, Trickle is running in 6th position as we watch him try to pass Wally Dallenbach. And he does so going into 3.
And looky here, Davey Allison has caught Brett Bodine and takes the lead.
Wow, took it with authority.
Davey Allison becomes our 3rd leader. I believe it's 3rd leader tonight, maybe 4th leader.
The gentleman coming up fast. Right behind them is Darrell Walker. New dad this week. Stevie had her baby.
That's right.
On Tuesday. So congratulations to Darrell and Stevie, their 2nd girl.
Sarah Caitlin Kearns Walker was born this week. Congratulations, as Ned said, to you two.
Meanwhile, that battle rages on for 6th position.
The Dallenbach car looks great. Absolutely. That's a gorgeous car. Keystone one.
Martin's on the inside. There's a slower car up there.
Oh, there's a 71. It does look like air something on the hood of the car. Oh! Great onboard. Wow.
Did you see that in-car camera shot of
Trickle was just gesturing at somebody and then got turned.
Saw the wheel and fighting it.
Man, oh man.
And Trickle is slowing significantly.
The right front tire is, and there goes Walter right by Brett Bodine. Just blew by on the outside.
Waltrip has found himself a groove, fellas. We predicted that the groove might move up as time went on. Darrell Waltrip is helping to do that. See, he's up a half a groove right there, not even having to race with anybody. But when he catches the lap traffic, he just goes above him on the outside.
I know when Waltrip got by Earnhardt, but he's flying.
See there, he's running just a little bit higher than Smother. Okay, there we see the
contact. Man, hit it a ton.
And into the wall he went.
And Martin came off the corner and ran right up on the back of Trickle, nailed him in the
back. You could almost see the 71 sponsor.
Terry just knocked the rear wheels off the ground and the right front.
Bam! Oh my goodness, what a hit.
Trickle did a super job.
Had Schrader still squeezed by there.
And so did all of these others back there do a good job.
And while that was happening, we had a change of 2nd position as Darrell Waltrip took to the high road and passed Brett Bodine, putting that Western Auto Chevy into 2nd place. Trickle has been in the pits and he is back out again.
Trickle's going to light a cigarette. There you go.
Is Davey Allison, but now 2nd place is Darrell Waltrip.
And Waltrip is coming. Man, he's closing up.
Well, now no love lost between these two drivers. Of course, it was Darrell who infamously, made contact with Davey. I don't think anything intentional, just a racing deal there. But unfortunately, that accident coming off turn 2 at Pocono sent Allison flying. It's an injury he's still dealing with in this race, as they mentioned in the broadcast here.
Harry was the 2nd round fastest qualifier. Didn't have a good qualifying time last night, but came back today in the daylight when normally the track's a little bit slower, and I think he qualified what would have been about 5th or 6th fastest speed. Started 16th.
Once again, today's race includes the Gillette Halfway Challenge contest.
Coming up on the halfway point.
$10,000 to the driver leading at the halfway point, and a lucky fan at home could win a new Chevrolet Lumina Z34.
Ooh, Chevy Lumina Z34. There we go.
Called at home, you must name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge to win the car. Now, if you want to enter the contest for our next event, the Mountain Dew Southern 500 at Darlington, a week from tomorrow, You need to write to the Gillette Halfway Challenge.
There you go. See some flash bulbs down there on the apron. One of those must have been you, Brian.
373-122-46. You must be 18 years of age or older to enter, and we must have your entry by Saturday, September the 5th, to be eligible for the next day.
Yeah, the Food City car is nice. For a one-off scheme, that's nice.
No, I did not. How do you do it?
Just did it right up on the outside of that racetrack and moved right around.
You need to go home and watch this on the VCR, because that was impressive.
Very impressive.
Man, man.
Well, as we mentioned, Waltrip is no stranger to this racetrack. He has won 11 different times. His first victory coming here back in 1978.
We just agree that Darrell Waltrip's paint scheme is just fantastic. I mean, it's, again, among many other fantastic paint schemes, but the original foil numbers and the pattern there.
Pretty impressive. There's Ganton Schrader running behind Morgan Shepherd, who is not on the same lap.
Dick Trickle back in the pits once again.
Yeah, he made some heavy contact with the right front.
Oh, didn't use flash. Oh, right on, Brian. 1600 speed. Black and white film. Oh, right on. Okay.
Boy, Darrell Waltrip, gentlemen, is in some very heavy traffic. He's working it okay. And here's Davey coming up on the outside.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's flying through him.
Runs down on the inside of his brother, Michael. Michael gives him plenty of running room.
They got to get around Richard.
If he'll do the same thing for Davey back there. If Eddie moves down, let Darrell go. I tell you, Darrell working that high groove so well, the lap traffic doesn't give him quite as much of a problem.
Tell you what, Darrell likes that being a new papa, doesn't he?
He does.
Well, I tell you.
He said, well,
oh boy, Michael barely clear Petty there.
He's got college to look forward to and all that, so he said better drive hard, make some money. Now Davey has caught up to Michael. He won't give him too much trouble.
Ernie Irvin returns to the
It's alive.
Several laps in the pits. It's lap 163.
30 laps down, 150 laps down.
Man, I tell you what.
Here's Dale Earnhardt now. He has caught Brett Bodine, who is running third. Earnhardt is fourth, and there's Mark Martin, the fifth place car, in the picture as well. Left those same cars that we saw the leaders.
Boy, right side of Petty's car just used up.
A few laps ago, as a matter of fact.
Well, you got to take your hat off to Dale Earnhardt, who has
easy staying on the apron, man.
Qualifying position, and you're right, Ned. That upper line, that upper groove is coming in.
I think it'll be the groove that they'll be racing in here before too long. The one that they'll prefer as opposed to the bottom groove.
Several laps of pits is quite understated. SQ, yeah, you're right.
Come in last night. The low groove was the place to be all night with the Busch Grand National Park. Here's Earnhardt taking over third position. Mark Martin moving on the inside of Brett Bodine will take over fourth position, shifting Brett back to fifth. And the big reason is the Busch cars are about 300 pounds lighter than the Winston Cup cars. When the Winston Cup cars go, they go into these turns faster, first of all, because of the horsepower they have and the momentum they have going into the turn, so it makes them drift up a little bit. So whether they're trying to work a groove in or not, they do it just inches at a time.
Look at that shot. Oh, my goodness.
When they start lapping cars, too, they have to run up there, and so it's a combination of things that makes that groove start coming in.
And that groove up on the top of the racetrack is drier right now. There's no oil, there's no water, there's no tire buildup. It's drier up there, and they're able to get a better grip on that dry racetrack.
And a race driver will search out the dry place on the racetrack. They'll find it.
And that's why Davey.
Oh, Mike Potter had no sponsor, Brian. Oh, thanks for the heads up. Okay.
Drivers like that are so successful in finding that.
Live,
okay.
Bud 500 NASCAR Wednesday.
I don't know if this was trimmed, bridged for time or not. I'm not sure. It may be.
Followed by Davey Allison. And then perhaps the fastest car on the race.
Not by much.
Point, Mark Martin running third.
Well, we saw Dale Earnhardt pass Brett Bodine and then Mark Martin. Since then, Mark Martin has passed Dale Earnhardt and just driven away from him.
There's Mark in the Valvoline Ford from Jack Roush.
Yeah, Dalton Ridd. Yeah, very good point. Yeah, Richard was still good those few years. And still had some good runs after that. Even in this season with the outside pole and the Pepsi 400, or in '88 when he ran top 5 at the Richmond Fairgrounds right after the big wreck.
Any racetrack, and particularly here in Bristol, but he's been able to get back up to third now, so he's right in the swing of things.
Joy collecting. I'm glad you're enjoying it too.
For the dragon brake duct happened early in the race, and he was able to fight his way back. Darrell running across some heavy traffic now. There's Hut Strickland.
Yeah, we'll be doing another one of these on Friday, and probably next Tuesday and Friday as well. I think that's at least tentative right now. But stay tuned to my Twitter at LastCarOnBrock for more updates.
For Dick Trickle has turned into a lengthy procedure here back in the garage area. They have the car on the jacks, and what they're going to try to do is jack the frame that's been bent in the right front back into position. The A-frame's been bent, part of the front frame and section has been bent. Trickle's sitting patiently in the car, but even incidental contact here at these speeds on this track can be disastrous.
Work continues on the car.
That's why I always think the garage is fascinating. I mean,
you know, guys, whenever I think of Dick Trickle, I always think of
hey, the Taco Bell car's back. Here it is. Here it is. Right on the back stretch.
Indiana on the quarter mile. Of course, Dick
back on the white, green, and yellow logo.
He said running it.
There he goes.
Anderson, Indiana on the quarter mile in that size race car is like jet fighters in a gymnasium. And I think that pretty much describes the action here, too. Well, Ken Schrader just went by the 26 car of Bodine, and now look at Jimmy Spencer and Harry Gant knocking on Brett's door.
Spencer really has a fast race car. And not only does he have a fast race car, he has something to prove. And that is that he belongs in Winston Cup racing.
That's a good point. You know, we're entering the point of the season where deals are being made for next year, and Jimmy would like nothing more than to have a full-time position with the Moroso team in '93.
Yeah, and they're talking, if Dick Moroso could find a sponsor, he would certainly go Winston Cup racing with Jimmy Spencer as the driver.
They're trying to make something happen. These teams trying to get deals together for next year. This is always that time of the season back then when you had a lot of silly season stories coming to pass.
Davey Allison's off. He's off the pace. Davey Allison off the pace, isn't he? No.
Well, I don't know. It looked like a little off the pace.
Martin's just fast.
It may
just made it look like
optical illusion because Martin's going so fast.
And I saw Davey on the inside, and I said, oh, my goodness.
Now, here's Darrell going to the inside of Derek Cope and lapping him. But
Derek is currently running in 16th position, so now there will be 15 cars on the lead lap.
This Hut Strickland's Ray Bestis car, another legendary paint scheme. Great update of the Bobby Allison paint job. This on a Chevy instead of the Buick after Buick stepped away at the end of '91.
Isn't that a gorgeous shot?
There you go.
Tremendous lighting that we have to bring you the
small pale blue dot
from Bristol. We'll be back with more live coverage after this. At the end of the backstretch, here comes the leader, Darrell Waltrip. But Mark Martin is now within a car length or two.
Got Ted Musgrave behind there.
You said that they
their lap car, the rear bumper looks like it was messed up.
I called up here the other day for a friend of mine to try to get to see. I knew they were sold out of reserve seats, and I said, do you sell standing room only? And they said, yes, we do, but we sold out in February.
They can't build enough seats to accommodate the people that want to come to see this race.
And here comes Martin on the inside, Bob. Excuse me.
Waltrip got
Bristol is like a rite of passage. Every fan needs to check it out at least once. Same with Darlington. I haven't been to Bristol since '07, but I intend to go back one of these days.
You see Darrell Waltrip when he went in the third corner, waved Martin by.
Yep.
He said, go ahead, man. There's still 300 laps to go. We're not going to fight over this thing at this stage of the race, surely.
Watching from Morgan Shepherd's car, looking out back to Sitco Ford.
You see Davey Allison back there. He's the third place car.
Here comes another Autolite field summary. Earnhardt running in fourth and Ken Schrader listed fifth. Bodine brothers are running in the second five. There's Brett on the right and Jeff, left I should say, and Jeff on the right. But Ricky Rudd is now passing Brett Bodine.
It looks like Jeff Bodine is going to do the same thing or attempt to.
Yeah, Rob, I think the Moroso team did get the Phenol Lube sponsor next year. I think so. I know they had it in '94 when Baker made a couple of starts, a couple attempts.
Before he made the pit stop, as you said, apparently they made some adjustments on his Pontiac.
Watching the field pass by, and we'll zoom into Waltrip, or rather Mark Martin, and John Kernan.
Yeah, the year I went was 2007. I went there the first race on the new gradient banking on the pavement. Yeah, it was a good show. I mean, the race went by so quick because there were only, I think, 3 cautions in it. But it was just cool to be there, just the atmosphere.
Oh,
hang on, Jarrett.
Jarrett apparently is fine.
Dale Jarrett now is in the wall.
I'm not sure he made contact with the wall, but he did spin, and it will bring out a caution flag. He did make contact with the wall in turn 2. And so
I wonder if those two different sponsors on Marcus. It looks like it's the 3/4 panel and the hood have logos. Oh, there's on the back too.
I'll tell you, this is waiting for Bill Elliott. Bill was not too far from going a lap down.
I was going to say, you still got the Valleydale Meats logo there. It used to be the spring race sponsor, even though the Food City wasn't that year. And this is the Bud 500. Interesting.
Here's the tail end of Dale Jarrett's incident in turn 2, sliding down the banking.
You can see Bill Elliott's
car. The power lines dangling there from the infield up to the outside.
Yeah, there is the contact with the wall. And Rick Mast going by and Ernie Irvin sneaking by. The leaders are coming in for pit stops.
Got bought by total? Okay, I didn't know that. Jarrett won his first 593, so the season after this.
That's because the car had gotten very, very loose. They're hoping to tighten it up right now with a 4-tire change. The first can of gasoline in. Mark Martin's further down pit road with Dr. Jerry Punch.
And likewise,
how dark the lighting is on pit road.
Split screen, you're watching 17 on the bottom of 6 on the top. Already made an adjustment.
Oh, the way light glints off the cars is gorgeous.
Down pit road. Here's the Valvoline Ford, and Darrell Walter will win the race back to turn 1 with Mark Martin in second, Earnhardt third, and then Davey Allison fourth.
Yeah, Darrell got out just a few feet ahead of Mark Martin. Crossed the line first at the end of pit road.
And there's something wrong with the 26 car. He didn't get out now. He's moving again.
Slowly off pit road is Brett Bodine. We're under caution for the fourth time because of an incident up in turn 2 with Dale Jarrett.
All right, coming up on the halfway point.
In any part can be very significant when you're running at this type of racetrack.
People picking up debris there. Jarrett just coming off pit road.
Kawicki made a late pit stop. What was that all about? Ned, did you?
Yeah, I think he stayed out there to get the 5 bonus points to lead.
Really?
So he could get 5 bonus points. Smart.
Oh, yeah, Bumblebee. Yeah, no, thank you, everybody, responding on that already. Yes, this will be the first Cup race on the concrete. There was a Busch race there the day before.
And so every point is important to Alan Kawicki. We're still under caution here at Bristol. We're set to go back to racing in just a few minutes when we return. For enthusiasm from the fans here. They are psyched about this event, and there are a record number of them tonight here at Bristol.
You can tell it's a very early era in the merch history, like merchandise that fans will wear. You got some people wearing it, but you got other people just wearing like polo shirts and stuff. It's interesting. It's just a different time. The market wasn't quite there yet.
Caused by a spin up in turn number 2 and contact with the wall by Dale Jarrett. The Western Auto Chevy won the battle out of the pits with Darrell Waltrip. That car will lead them as they come down for the green flag. Martin is second, then Earnhardt, Allison, and Gantz.
Rusty Wallace trying to get his lap back, and he does indeed get around Darrell Waltrip. That does put him back in the lead lap. If he can stay out there, and if there should be another caution, he'd be back in this thing. We've seen Rusty Wallace do that before. We've seen him make up a lot of laps.
That car is
kind of tattered field in the back. You have a few cars just way off the pace, like Dick Trickle and others.
He could get a break and have Mark Martin and Darrell Waltrip start racing for the lead.
He is in 15th position. With him back in the lead lap now, there are 15 cars shown on the lead lap. Darrell Waltrip leads. Mark Martin second. Dale Earnhardt is third. Davey Allison is fourth.
Isn't it a great broadcasting group? It really is. I mean, it doesn't matter like how crazy things get. And the Marvin, hope you enjoyed the show. Go to the halfway point. 92 Bud 500 at Bristol.
Darrell looks on the inside.
Just close that door.
So we got a good stack up here. Rick Mast. There's the Country Time car again.
Coming through the field, and now Waltrip gets the position on Rusty and puts him a lap down, and he will bring Mark Martin along with him, or Mark will try to.
Lap down at Bristol.
Yep.
Shocking.
Here's Earnhardt.
Look at Earnhardt.
Yeah, this is early 90s and 80s fashion would still be happening. You're right, Silas Tipton. That's a very good point.
Guys we used to see battle.
amazing that these guys would catch on to this concrete racetrack before anyone else.
Earnhardt.
You can really see the cars just dig out of the banking there onto the straightaways.
Dale has the second highest number of wins among the active competitors with 7 victories. And now here comes Davey Allison, also passing Rusty Wallace.
Looks like Rusty's car is only good for about 5 laps, Ned. And
Ken Schrader got out of shape coming off the corner. He and Morgan Shepherd may have had some slight contact.
Now, Jim Bodine trying to make a run on Schrader going into the turn, but could quite get up beside him.
All 6 of those cars there are vying for position. Kyle Petty moving up.
Yeah, Kyle Petty's car looks so good. Just electric.
And Davey Allison has called Earnhardt and gets alongside.
Jarrett, Martin, Gordon, and Wallace. You got good picks, Marvin.
To its feet here in the main grandstand as they watch Allison go to 3rd, passing Earnhardt.
Davey fighting right back, man. He's already gone through so much at this point of the season.
You can see the speed these cars carry as they come off the corner at about 110 miles an hour.
Earnhardt started 23rd. By the 75th lap, he was 12th. He moved to 7th by the 130th circuit. Then he moved to 4th, and now, last lap at the end of 221, was running 4th.
Had run 3rd there for a little bit, so Davey got around it.
Yeah, 55. It might have Freedom Village USA as a sponsor on the hood, Rob. I know that they were involved in a lot of races, especially in '92. That was a home for wayward youths that was founded by. Oh, look at the crowd cheering as Davey wrecked. Wow.
Heavy contact to the rear of the. He's not the points leader. That's right. He's the 2nd place car.
Nevertheless, he was trying to.
Great crowd reaction. This is the moment I remember from this race. I remember Davey backing in the wall.
Left rear of that race car.
Entire rear of the car is.
Oh wow, heavy damage. There's another great run he had.
An old AMC Gremlin
with a flat back end. We can see the car jumping up down the back.
Yeah.
So he's got some serious damage to the car.
And Davey was doing so well.
Meanwhile, he needs to come into pits, but. He wants to catch up with the pace car.
Well, the pits were not open.
Yeah, pits are closed right now. The pace car is picking up the field in turn number 3.
Yeah, there are some people who were cheering. I don't know, they're just cheering for a wreck or they just didn't like Davey. I remember people booing him with Sears Point that year. I was one of them. I wasn't crazy about Davey Allison back then. I was, you know, I remember just anybody that was dominant back then was just something. But,
and Brett Bodine is,
you know, and then a lot of Earnhardt fans didn't like him. I mean, I wasn't really an Earnhardt fan, but yeah. But, you know, it just happens at any time. You know, it'd be about the same whenever your driver is getting beat by another driver regularly, or, you know, cameras just pointed at him the most often.
Also, Richard Petty crashed earlier.
But I think for me personally, like, obviously when that Pocono wreck happened, that definitely changed things there. It's like, man, this guy's going through just everything. And then, of course, unfortunately, everything that happened after it. And there he goes behind the wall. This is the crowd.
To be worked on behind the wall. Davey has now pulled the car behind the wall, and the rear of the car, as you said, Benny Parsons, a minute ago, has been shortened by about 2.5 feet. In fact, the car is almost completely gone from the L back. And now the crew begins pushing the car behind the wall. Davey Allison had just radioed a moment ago before they went green that he was feeling fine. The risk they were
Look how close you get to the action here. Man, oh man. Try to pull the panels out.
And now he sits in the car here on pit road. Davey's still sitting in the car. Let me ask you, are you okay, Davey?
Yeah, I'm fine, Jerry. Car just got away from me down there going into turn 3. It had been a little bit loose getting in the corner, but it wasn't bad. And then that lap, I guess I just locked the right rear wheel up. And I backed it in the wall. It's a tough break. These guys have been doing a great job. The car was running good, so hopefully we can get it fixed and get out there and get some points.
Well, obviously, Davey disgusted and disappointed, but they're going to try to get this car fixed. It is heavily damaged. The rear of the car almost completely gone. You see now trying to fuel sheet metal away just to be able to assess the
Robert
damage.
trying to pull the panel off, too. Get to the fuel inlet.
This evening. We're under caution once again from Bristol International Raceway. 227 laps complete. We're approaching the halfway. Back after this.
You're watching live coverage of the 20th stop on the 1992 NASCAR Winston Cup Tour, the Bud 500 from Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee.
Petty had 7-Up too. I remember him with Pepsi that last year. Maybe earlier in his career. Oh yeah, you're right. He did. Richard did. I think Pete Hamilton had the logo too, if I remember correctly. Like way back, 70 or so.
For 2 years, no matter how far you go.
Neil Bonnet's birthday today. There you go.
35 laps completed out of 500. Darrell Waltrip is the leader of this race. He's pulled away a little bit from Mark Martin, who is second. Dale Earnhardt is third, and between Martin and Earnhardt is Rusty Wallace.
I don't see how people would be, cheering for Davey wrecking, especially after the Clifford accident. That's a little more surprising. And after the Pocono wreck. I mean, at this point here, he wasn't nearly as dominant as he was the first part of the year. But, it was just becoming a huge story at that point. And the Pocono wreck was just such an appalling event.
Is up for grabs in about 13 laps. Darrell's telling his crew to count the laps down. He's got to get that extra money. And some food for thought, guys. When Jessica was born a few years ago, Darrell won the race at Martinsville the next weekend. So they're hoping that happens again tonight.
Ooh, so it could be deja vu all over again, huh?
Yes.
We're getting close to the halfway mark. If you've entered the
maybe Elliott fans. I think you're right.
Can name the driver who wins the Gillette Halfway Challenge. You'll win a new Chevrolet Lumina.
Got to injure your Gillette Halfway Challenge injury before the night before the Hooters 500.
St. Petersburg 33731.246. You must be 18 years of age or older, and we must receive your entry by Saturday, September 5th to be eligible for next Sunday's event. Let's go down to Jerry Punch.
There you go.
Mark Martin is to his crew that he thinks he may have a miss or a skip in the engine. That was moments ago. He said, no, the car's running fine. Apparently what they've done is they've broken a header pipe because they're going to corners.
You're right, Jude Fernandez. This is after the Winston re-wrecked, the one hot night. Yeah, I mean, most of what had happened in Davey's, the difficult stretches of his career had happened by this point. Certainly another was coming up after this when he missed out on the Winston Million. But paled in comparison to other things.
Earnhardt is not gaining on Martin, neither is Martin gaining on Darrell Waltrip.
In fact, Martin might be pulling away from Earnhardt just a little bit.
I think Harry Gannon, as a matter of fact, is gaining on Dale Earnhardt.
We got 7 laps to go to the halfway point. Here's the completion of 2:43. And Mark Martin, the winner at Martinsville.
Green Recliner, is that the name of the song? I didn't know that.
And has moved from 11th to 5th in NASCAR Winston Cup points in the last 7 events. Finds himself 285 behind the points leader, Bill Elliott, going in. And there is Darrell Waltrip. Well, he's just about to put $10,000 into that college fund money for his new daughter. He has 5 more laps to the halfway point and $10,000 in the Gillette Halfway Challenge.
I haven't really seen anything out of Bill Elliott in this race, much after his struggles in the spring race.
He's not going to be able to catch him in 5 laps for the $10,000, but he is gaining on him.
Their Fram Field summary.
It's Spencer still in the 10th spot. Hamilton in the country time car up to 8th. Great run. Kowicki just hanging on to the lead lap in 12th. Elliott in front of him. And the torrid pace. Look at the people multiple laps down that haven't had any damage. Sauter 5 down. Dallenbach 7 down. And then the ones involved in incidents. All Strickland I don't think had gotten a wreck. Marcus about to take last from Irvin.
There's Harry Gannon, Brett Bodine.
Didn't seem like Marcus had enough damage to fall out, but I guess it did.
And Earnhardt right in front of these fellas. So this is actually a race for third. I think Harry Gannon's a little bit more racer than Brett Bodine right now because he closes right up on the back of Dale Earnhardt.
All right, this time around will be the halfway point. 250 out of the
green recliner for the Bill Elliott Purelator commercial. Okay.
Collect the $10,000 in the Gillette Halfway Challenge is Darrell Waltrip.
There you go. Anybody pick Darrell Waltrip before the show? You picked the halfway winner.
And halfway point in the April race here in Bristol. So if you're called now by the Gillette Halfway Challenge people in the next few minutes and they ask you who is leading and who won the 10 grand, you tell them Darrell Waltrip, and you will win a Chevrolet Lumina Z34.
Yes, only 32 cars, Dylan. Yeah. I mean, this is back when, the short track still had short fields. And there were 41 cars at Michigan the previous week. So you still had very big fields at other races.
Last year when he was in 10th in the points, and now
but not in this one. And only one DNQ with Mike Potter.
Darrell might not be quite as aggressive now once he's got that $10,000 in the bank.
He probably doesn't mind if Martin leads the next couple of hundred laps.
That's right.
As long as he can get it back with about 50 to go, he'll be content.
If you can still get that Z34 Lumina. There you go.
Darrell is overtaking Richard Petty, going by him on the outside.
I always like to know whenever they have a contest. I want to find out who won. Like so many times you hear these contests or anything like that, you never actually hear who won the thing. Like especially if it's like an experience or something. Like not just winning a car, but yeah. Oh, there's a Taco Bell car. You can see it a little better behind Cope and Kowicki there in that replay.
Darrell, or rather Cope, 17th. Here's Jerry again.
Well, they are still
working on the tow truck to get Davies' car moving.
It's so heavily damaged, they are attaching a wrecker to the rear of the car with a chain, and they've been jerking the rear of the car trying to pull some of the frame away from the ground. Davies still scratching the seat. He's been getting somewhat of a rough ride inside the car as they attach the wrecker and try to pull a cable and then pull the wrecker forward to try to straighten the rear frame rail.
Well, while work continues on Davey Allison's car, the Winston Cup points leader is still out there in action with no damage to the car, and he is running in 12th position. Elliott is. Now, he has not led a lap tonight, so he has not picked up those 5 points.
Meanwhile, Martin has passed Darrell Waltrip for the lead. There he goes. There he is.
Mark Martin looking good. Of course, he would win this race the next year. He and Rusty Wallace putting on a show in that event.
All over the place. We can't keep up with it.
It's happening so fast we can't keep up with it.
However, you can always count upon seeing it in replay. And this is how Mark Martin got the lead.
Modern day NBC coverage. ICK.com in your way. Yeah. I mean, is it the closest we have to 90s ESPN coverage? Maybe, but man, I don't know how close though. Like maybe it's maybe a couple galaxies apart there, but yeah, probably the closest thing we do have by default. It's unfortunate.
We've seen Jimmy Spencer passed all day.
Could be.
I mean, they don't follow what's actually happening on the track nearly as well as this is.
Spencer got a little bit squirrely coming off of that turn. Kyle just drove under and went on around. Now Spencer working on him. He said, I don't like that. I want that position back. But Kyle has run a good, steady race here tonight. So he's up there in 9th position.
Bill Elliott doesn't have a scratch on that car, does he, Ned? I don't see a scratch anywhere.
Yeah, there you go. He's just kind of kept his nose clean. I like the matching red window net. That's nice. I mean, it's incredible how massive a story that was when Elliott got to Junior Johnson after driving for Melling for his whole career, really. I mean, besides, his own team before that.
Bodine picked up the spot from Ricky Rudd.
And Ricky Rudd, since he was so dominant there earlier part of the race, seemed to have lost the handle a little bit, Ned.
Yes, the car just doesn't seem to be working as well as it did. He was dominant in the first part of the race. But
there you go. There's Jimmy Means, the Taco Bell car. There you go. Look at that.
Well. Now, I mentioned a while back that
green, white, and white car, green numbers, yellow accents. The old one. They're not even talking about the pastel colored late 90s logos.
I don't think that Darrell's concerned.
I don't even know what their color scheme is now.
I think that he's content to run his own pace.
Yes.
Mark wants to run a little bit faster right now than he does.
This is pretty big move, Laser Bro. It was up there.
I'll run as fast as I want.
I mean, about as much as like Junior going to Hendrick or Elliott driving for Evernham, that kind of thing. Elliott kind of broke the silly season storyline a couple times in his career.
Cars on the lead lap, 7 liters, 8 lead changes, and an average speed of almost 93 miles an hour. Those cars that have led and picked up 5 Winston Cup bonus points include Urban, Rudd, Bodine, Kowicki, Allison Martin, and Darrell. Now, only 2 cars officially listed as out of the race. Dave Marcus, who crashed, and
Terry Labonte fell
There
out.
are several other, however,
They said he was
behind the wall.
really smoking
Tony
at the
Glover
time.
leads the Mechanic of the Year race from Western Auto with 407 points. Tim Brewer is second, and Donnie Richardson, Larry McReynolds.
Was this the same year that Rudd almost crashed into a Mercury Capri in the infield? I think that was 93, Sloth Nerd. That's a good question. I think that was 93.
Very close.
You sure are.
Whoop, there's Means again.
All right, Mark Martin leads. Just
Taco Bell car getting more screen time.
Jimmy Means. Second place, right behind him is Darrell Walton. We'll take another break and be back with more after this. We had our 6th caution. It came on lap number 273. And it involved Jimmy Spencer. Capping in turn number 2.
Rest in peace,
Here's
Bob
the
Jenkins
replay.
and Benny Parsons, absolutely.
He's going down in turn 1. Actually, he loses control as he enters turn 1.
Ooh.
And around he goes. Bill Elliott.
Looked like it blew a tire, just snapped around so quick.
Barely gets by, and no one else was involved in the spin.
He didn't hit anything. There were a lot of pit stops following that. And look who won the race out of the pits. At the top of your screen, just off of corner number 4. Keeping the car under 35 miles an hour.
That big light there over Earnhardt's
wins
crew.
the race back out and across the line, and so he will be the leader when we return to competition. And that will be
Like Earnhardt's crew had a giant spotlight on the car there. That's crazy.
Down in the pits in second place, Mark Martin third, and Darrell Waltrip back in fourth. And
We're past the halfway point here.
Next lap.
We said lap 273 when the caution came out.
Well forward with the furled caution flag. And the one more sign and one more lap indication. Gant, Earnhardt, Martin, Waltrip, Brett, Jeff.
No, I haven't read that, Justin. That's a good suggestion.
Kyle and Elliott. That's the way they'll restart.
Earnhardt to Childress is a big one. Yeah, that's a fair point, Rob.
Harry Gant is right in the thick of the battle for the Winston Cup at age 53. He's 135 points behind Elliott in 3rd position, and here's the green flag.
Harry Gant tried to run away with it.
Banging going on behind Harry, but he's in
That beautiful Oldsmobile.
So he gets himself the 5 bonus points. Of course, he did when he took the lead. But you get bonus points for even leading under the caution, so he'd already got those. But that's something that's very important now. And as the season goes on, it'll be more important for every bonus point you can pick up.
What Means off the pace, trying to get back up again.
Stretching his fuel mileage earlier this year, and he is in this points battle. What's your strategy in winning the title, Harry?
Well, it's the same as just trying to finish high as we can and stay on the track. We got to make up a lot of points. They got a long lead on us, really, and it's just a long way yet to go, and we just hope that we will gain instead of lose momentum. So that's our objective right now, to try to keep whittling away or gaining some. To do so, you got to finish ahead of the competition. So right now, that's what we're trying to do, get a little better motor, a little better car to be able to do
Whoop,
that.
oh, Rick Mast in the wall.
Crash, as Harry tells us about
the other Skull car, Skull Classic machine.
This one involves Rick Mast, and again, soft turn 2 down the backstretch.
He was in a big pack of cars that Kyle Petty had almost lost it coming off of turn 2, and the car is really backed up there in a pack, and I think Rick got bumped from behind. This is the way it looked to me. Now watch the far right. You see him in the black and white car over there.
Richard Petty is the guy that...
Another great paint scheme. Just black and white, but it looks so good.
And he goes down and makes contact.
Not so much in the wall, though.
Inside wall, about like Ernie Irvin did at the start of the race.
It was one of those accordion deals. Somebody probably well up front got on the brakes a little bit. Somebody just banged into each other.
Kyle Petty got totally sideways between turns 3 and 4 in the middle, 1 and 2, I should say. And so the car did have to back up, and that caused all. Here's Davey Allison going back up.
Davey is back in competition. Now we'll show it to you again. Now this time watch the far left, and you can see that there are cars that are...
Yeah, they let off the gas
a little bit.
Richard, it's just one of those unintentional things that...
What happened to Kyle Petty when it went in turn 1 on the inside of Derek Cope, and they ran across a slow car, so he had to back out of the gas and hit the brakes and almost lost control. And while he was saving to your right there, they just started jamming it behind him.
Waltrip makes a pit stop. That'll cost him track position significantly.
There are 11 cars in the lead lap, so he will be 11th.
So Darrell takes the opportunity during this pit stop.
No, not a massive loss of track position. Probably a good strategy. Just how good that car is.
We'll spend a few moments in the infield.
Look at that. Best paint scheme. Gorgeous car.
Tour. 59 starts here at Bristol. And
I'm still. I'm gonna have to dig in my heels on that one. I mean, that is such a good paint
top
scheme.
10 finishes, giving him a percentage of 43, and his last top 5 was in 1987 during this race when he finished in 5th position. Now, you'll hardly ever see Richard Petty without the sunglasses and the hat. Why is that? Well, here's Dr. Jerry Punch with this week's Petty memory.
Oh, look at different shades of blue on the fender and the hood. That's kind of weird.
This Richard Petty memory is brought to you by new STP engine treatment. Help stop engine wear before you start. The legend Richard Petty was made on the racetrack, but his aura can be seen in his sunglasses and patented cowboy hat. But where did they come from?
My eyes are sensitive to light anyway, so I was wearing some kind of sunglasses. So I got to wearing these, and the wind, you know, would keep the dust and stuff out from behind them. I mean, they was open, you wouldn't sweat and all that stuff. So it just got to be a more and more of a habit deal. And now the only time I take them off, I guess, when I go to bed or take a bath or something like that. It's just got to be part of it. And you know, the hat I think came about a little bit later on. I think it's not been going but maybe 10 years or something like that. One reason it works good for me at the racetracks and stuff is that when the Pontiac people are talking to me and I've got on an STP hat, they don't get mad at me, or vice versa, you know, Goodyear hat or whatever. You always got the wrong hat on with people you talk to. You wear this, you know, you're not out of school either way. So it made it a little bit easier. And then I got in the habit of wearing it and don't have to comb my hair, so that helps too.
Well, there we go. Every sponsor is happy when you're wearing the cowboy hat. I love it.
Gotten a lap back, but the man in trouble is Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, he was in second place when this race restarted, Bob.
Whoa, camera gets
very high,
too low in the back of the car there.
High groove ever since, and the entire field is going fine.
He got off to a great start when they threw the flag.
Ooh, I could almost see the 71 sponsor.
Get out of my way. I've got a
it's really close.
And then all of a sudden in turn 1, the car got high, and he is going to the back.
It's like he's got a cylinder that's gone or a flat tire or something. Jerry Punch is on his way down there. I'm sure he'll have a report in just a moment. Jerry Punch, you there yet?
Yeah, we're here, Benny. What happened when the restart, the power steering belt and the alternator belt came off, so Earnhardt has no alternator and no power steering at all.
Oh, that's not good. He did win that race here without power steering, but on this surface, I don't know.
No luck at all this year.
At these speeds.
You know, that's right. He had a pretty good run going here today. He's going a solid top 5 car. And remember when he won with no power steering here that time?
Yes.
There you go.
I remember that. Well, he was a tough customer. Yes.
Meanwhile, up front, it is still Harry Gant.
He's been banging on Rusty Wallace, trying to put a lap back on Rusty. Rusty jumped out there.
I like that theory, Laser Pro. Yeah, about the color photos. That makes sense.
Hope that maybe
shows way better, I would imagine.
There's the second place car, Brett Bodine, car number 26.
And Jeff is in 3rd position.
Brett, the Bodine brothers having a good
Brett
run.
punched the right front out there.
Had an awfully good run last night. Won the first race.
Yep.
Third seater 250.
And then right behind Jeff is Ricky Rudd, who set the early pace here at Bristol.
Oh, right on, Michael. That's awesome.
Quaker State Buick. Ford. I'm sorry.
It's not a Buick, Bob.
Thank you for correcting me.
See, this is great. This is something.
Oh, boy.
When Bob Jenkins would misspeak, the other commentators would actually say something. Like, when's the last time Rick Allen's been corrected on anything?
Up on the high side. Here comes
I mean, come on.
Petty below him and Mark Martin.
And, they just lauged it off, which is fine. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering. It doesn't have to be, ooh, you're in trouble. It's just, it's like, hey, come on. Just get it straight.
His car seems to be running okay. Here's Mark Martin, one of the better cars earlier on. And
I think it's Freedom, yeah.
Also, Darrell Walter.
Well, maybe, I don't know if it is. I thought it was Freedom Village on the 55's hood, but maybe it isn't. Almost looks like something else.
Lost that track position to get more tires that he had more confidence in.
There we go. Can't quite make it out. It doesn't have enough letters. Unless it's got a different logo above it.
finally got by Rusty Wallace as we're watching this. Davey Allison, we see on the inside of the racetrack slowly. There's Harry.
There's Hut Strickland right behind him in the car number 12. Hut was in the pits for quite a while. I'm not sure we ever reported that. He had a brake problem on the Ray Bestis entry.
It's not good when the Ray Bestis brakes car has brake problem.
In fact, he's being shown now back in the 25th position.
Well, Harry won the most recent race, stretching his fuel mileage at Michigan International Speedway. And how about next
Gant
weekend,
looking good again.
we go to Darlington for the annual Labor Day event. Harry Gant is the defending champion there. But the man of the weekend will undoubtedly be Davey Allison, because he can win the Winston Million if he wins at Darlington next Sunday. And we'll have live coverage at 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon.
$1 million if Davey Allison in the 28 car. It hasn't been done but once. It was 1985.
Davey Allison trying to win the Winston Million. Man, what a story.
That was the points leader currently, Bill Elliott.
And Elliott is currently running in 9th position. Kenny Schrader was up beside it trying to take that away, but he couldn't make it stick.
Here's a Fram Field summary. There's Kulwicki. Darrell Waltrip. You can see them, they're 7th and 8th.
Earnhardt in 11th place, but he's not far from going a lap down.
He's been shorter in Danica and Reddick. It's a tough call. John Andretti comes to mind. How far in the race are we? I know it's tricky without the lap counter. We got to be past the 300 lap mark at this point, at the very least. In terms of time, for those of you watching this for time, you have about an hour left of this race. Yeah. So checkered flag, probably a little bit after, a little bit before 8:30 Pacific here. I know it's a little bit different doing it on a Tuesday. I think Friday we get even better crowd, especially a longer race. Oh, what the heck? Oh, Darrell slowed down. Somebody spun in front of him.
In front of him is the reason everybody was slowing down. A car up against the wall. I can't see the number. It could be Ted Musgrave.
It's a white car. It's either Jimmy Means or Ted Musgrave.
Looks like Musgrave. I think I see his 5 there.
And Dale Earnhardt did not get lapped.
So this caution will be a break for him.
Now 55 Musgrave.
Yeah, I thought it was. Ted Musgrave, who was running in 15th position.
He's actually running very solid, yeah.
Has made contact with the 4th turn wall.
That's unusual. You don't see that Musgrave go in too much trouble.
No, he's had a good record this year.
I'm sure Ray DeWitt is saying, my goodness.
So couldn't quite read that out. Looked like it was kind of the Broadway font on the hood of the car there, so it's a little hard to read.
Andy Petrie and the crew hoping to repeat their performance in the last pit stop.
Yeah, we definitely get used to the lap counter for sure.
Chassis adjustment in 21.8 seconds to give their driver Harry Gant the lead. Already the right side tires are on. Jack going under.
Comes Earnhardt down pit road.
Looks like another very fine.
Got all the green cars.
You've got Harry Gant on the top of your screen. Brett Bodine on the bottom. Harry is already away. And Brett Bodine is pitting farther down pit road. He's still on left side.
That big spotlight again in Earnhardt's crew. Oh, they got the hood up. Oh, that's right, because the power steering belt.
But John Kernan, the guy that beat all of them out on the front pits, was Jeff Bodine. And now let's go back to
got big, big
pit.
spotlight though.
And a big break for Dale Earnhardt, who was about to go a lap down to Harry Gant. They have put the hood back down. They put the power steering and alternator belt on. You hear the crowd roaring in the puts it back in gear and pulls away. And sometimes it just pays to be lucky on the short track. Earnhardt, who had a problem early on, got a break with the car.
Great pit stop. Great pit stop.
Sputter, and it wouldn't have lasted much longer running only on the battery.
Oh, you're right, Troggle 84. Yeah, Musgrave's another guy. Ran different manufacturers.
Watch the top of your screen. There's Musgrave spinning.
And I don't see anybody around him that would have had any contact.
And this was behind Ted, and watching everybody hit the brakes.
There we see Schrader running in the back of Bill Elliott, and Darrell Waltrip stopped his car, practically stopped his car anyway.
The 8th caution flag of the evening for Ted Musgrave and the visit with the wall in turn number 4. Earnhardt in again. They're trying to reconnect those pins and send them back out.
Good heads-up move there by the crew.
66 in-car camera. We watch the leader of the race ahead. That is Darrell Waltrip. He did not make a pit stop on this most recent caution period. Now remember, he did make one a few laps ago, giving up a lot of track position, but now he's got it back.
Dale Earnhardt now, they've got the belts back on his car, so he does have power steering and an alternator.
He's trying to work up through traffic.
Yeah, Richard Petty and Derek Cope.
And Jerry Punch can update us from pit road.
Let me update a little bit. They were able to get the power steering belt back on, but they did not have the alternator belt on, so they're running with battery only. They could not get the alternator belt back on, but they got the fans going, and he does have power steering, so they're going to have to roll the dice and hope maybe he can make it the rest of the way on only the battery.
He's in 11th place right now as Davey Allison comes in once again. Davey crashed earlier. He's out there just trying to...
Isn't it great, Michael? Yeah. Back when they didn't have the headlights and just a solid color. It looks great.
And now, a good battle. Brett Bodine and Harry
like driving a train.
And there's Ken Schrader with them.
Before putting the headlight stickers or anything on it.
Car leading that group is Bobby Hamilton, and as we told you on Speed Week tonight, Donnie Allison has joined that team in a consulting capacity.
Yeah, how about that? Donnie Allison helped out the TriStar team. I mean, they did struggle so much in 92, and then even more in 93, unfortunately.
He might have just did a gas and go.
It'd be good to see the country time perform better than it did. It did with Michael Waltrip, but not so much with Hamilton.
He changed all 4 tires, so he's a little bit faster than Jeff Bodine right now, but he's having trouble getting by. Meanwhile,
Johnson City, Tennessee. Okay, it must be a name like a hotel or club or something there, Rob.
All these guys are battling for position behind. Darrell Waltrip has things to himself.
Jarrett back off pit road again.
Here's Harry on the inside. He's got to run.
And he does it. Gant goes to second.
We understand that Jeff Bodine did not change tires. He only took on gasoline. Last time around we saw Dale there. We see Davey Allison going out of the pits. The last time we saw Dale Jarrett going out, he cut another tire down and an unscheduled pit stop. So the not changing tires looks like
once again, the Bodine brothers are running together. Harry goes inside of Bobby Hamilton. Here comes Jeff.
Red car is Jeff, the green car is Brett.
Let me write that down. Okay. Red, Brett. No,
green, Brett.
Okay.
So they've got Bobby Hamilton on the outside where they want him. Got him right where they want him.
Yep. Here's Kulwicki and Kyle Petty. They are 8th and 9th.
Yeah, man. You know, I mean, for a short field here, I mean, it's been whittled down still pretty thoroughly, even without the crash clock.
Well, it's certainly not the car he won with here a year ago and in the spring.
Whittled down even more with today's race.
Especially in the spring of this year. And you just don't know if it... I assume that it takes a different setup for this concrete, and especially for the radial tires than in the past, and maybe just missed it.
Allen was trying to become the first driver since Dale Earnhardt to win 3 in a row. Dale did it in 87 and 88.
Bob losing track of the Bodines. Yeah, exactly.
He won like 7 in a row here at Bristol.
Yep.
There's the brothers going at it. The green Bodine, Brett, is on the inside of the red Bodine, Jeff.
Come up on Davey Allison, and Jeff might pinch.
Benny can't say red Bodine. It'll sound too much like Brett. It's just. Oh, Davey in the wall again. Oh, my goodness. Oh, look, you got people cheering again.
Boy, Davey is just...
oh, what a rough day. Just got run over in traffic.
On the front end. Caution period number 9.
I mean, when it rains at this track, it falls.
Car is stopped here on the main straightaway. Let's look at it again.
There they are coming off of turn 4, and they come up on Davey.
Oh, he's kind of out of control there. It's almost like he had a problem. They got tipped.
It was hard to tell.
Kind of checked up a little bit.
Maybe this angle will help.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to get out of the way, and then he just gets hit.
I don't think so.
I don't think he touched him. I think with the spoiler, no spoiler on the back of the car, I think when he turned it, the back end just came around. Here's one more angle. Let's see if we can see.
Right. Oh, no, okay, yeah, you're right. I don't think he hit him.
Nope. No contact.
No.
Darrell Waltrip is in. Here's John Kernan.
It's a 4-tire change for Darrell Waltrip. His crew is timing Harry Gant, seeing that Harry was gaining a little bit faster. Remember, Harry did come in, change 4 tires on that last pit stop. Right sides are on, left sides are going on. Several cars did stay out, including Brett Bodine. Harry Gant now beats Darrell Waltrip down pit road, and Darrell is away finally.
And of course, Jeff Bodine also came in. He was not doing so well, not taking on tires the last time. Ken Schrader in, Earnhardt back in. You can see his car there at the end of pit road. And Bill Elliott coming in on the backstretch.
Wonder why Bill Elliott is pitting back there, because he qualified 19th, and they only had 18 spots on the front, so he had to pit on the back. Decided disadvantage to being back there because all the cars on the front get to pit, and then you got to go and
just flat lost it exactly.
Behind them.
I mean, it's such a heartbreaker. I mean, Davey's about, what, 37 points behind Elliott coming into this race, has these 2 incidents that just ruin his day. And a day where Bill was really keeping his car clean, but not nearly as fast. Not fast at all like he was the spring race. And there it is getting towed. Oh, my goodness. 7 up.
Here across the wall, getting a nice cold drink. Davey, it's been an unbelievable night for you.
Well, Jerry, you know, to start with, over there in turn 3, I lost it getting in the corner, and car backed in the wall, and you know, I hate it for these guys. They've worked awful hard. We were running good. We were going to come out of here with a decent finish tonight, and I just messed up. And then we're out there riding around just trying to stay out everybody's way, and I saw Jeff and Brett, those guys coming behind me, and I tried to move over and get out of their way coming off turn 4. I hit the apron and lost it again. I just having a heck of a night.
Winston Million next week. Let me ask you first, is the car fixable?
I don't think so this time. It pushed the oil cooler back into the left front tire, and you know, we're far enough down now that if we went back out, we wouldn't gain anything anyway. So
thoughts after turn to the Winston Million coming up at Darlington?
Well, I think I'm gonna go home and regroup and get with these guys, you know, and try to figure out what it's going to take to get myself back going again, because you know, I was off a little bit tonight, and I made the mistakes. I got to go get better.
Davey Allison able to smile even through adversity here at Bristol. Gentlemen.
Davey Allison, quite a competitor. You showed it on more than one occasion.
I mean, that Davey interview, it kind of reminds me of Kyle Larson a little bit. You know, very, you know, even it's something that seems like it should bother him tremendously. He just kind of, you know, doesn't seem too phased by it.
At the front of the field.
I mean, not happy about it, but, you know.
Does Harry Gant and Darrell Waltrip have them where they want them now?
They might do it.
Can they go the rest of the way on the tank? Well, we're going to talk about fuel mileage again this week.
I would never thought it would come into play, and it probably won't. On this racetrack, they have about 164 laps to go now. They've been out there for 4 or 5 laps, so that means 168, 170 laps on the tank of fuel on a half-a-mile track. Fast as they run here, that would be awfully hard to make it. But if anybody can do it, Harry Gant and Darrell Waltrip can.
Well, after you watch the Formula One race tomorrow morning, and the New York Mets.
Oh, skip past that.
Comes out, and we are back to racing. Brett Bodine is the leader of the race, followed by Ricky Rudd. Now
wow.
is the leader.
Ricky Rudd storms to the lead.
Trying to get that lap back, still trying to get that lap back.
And a crash out of Harry Gant has crashed here on the main straightaway.
Dang, another front runner with problems.
Rusty's going to race him back. Harry down on the middle of the racetrack.
And Martin and Allen.
Everybody else should slow down.
And out in turn number 2,
and Rudd kept Rusty forget the lap back.
And Rusty did not, as you indicated, get the
lap
back.
Rudd was chasing him absolutely all the way to the line.
Heavy damage to the rear of his car. He is backed in the fence pretty good. It looks like.
Oh, wow, Martin trashed it.
Oh, my goodness. Up as well.
He's got damage all over.
Oh, he's destroyed that one.
Now, this is the incident here on the main straightaway involving Harry Gant. Watch the back.
Oh, Michael just swept him out of the way. And Darrell's right behind him. Oh, man, Gant backed it in real hard.
Got together a little bit.
Derek Cope just missed it.
And sent him spinning around.
Harry is still parked right there. His car hasn't moved.
I think the rear end is really pushed back. It looks like sitting there as we see him coming off.
Well, there's Allen and Mark.
And you can see how it hits the wall. Boy, it gets up on the wall back there. And I think the rear end.
I think Allen got on the apron. Must have got up into him. Looks like Allen's left sides are about to hit the asphalt.
Now, while that was happening out in turn number 2, this was going on between Kulwicki and Martin.
Yeah, tucked the front valence. Ooh, Kyle.
I don't see too much damage to Kulwicki's car.
Well, certainly two cars that were very capable of winning this race have sustained damage. Let's go to John.
Look, drop the. Oh, no, not tight yet.
Right now with the left front lug nut that fell off, Alan Kowicki now pulling down. Like you said, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of damage, just some sheet metal damage.
The valence is tore up pretty bad.
Tires. That was the only adjustment they had made. We will talk with Paul Andrews here in a moment to see if there is more of a problem with Alan's car.
Yeah,
A.B. King in 1980. A good question. You know, I remember watching this. I remember Davey struggling a lot. I think I had my die cast of Davey on hand, and I was kind of making comparisons with it and stuff, and noticing that Haviland Formula 3 logo on the rear deck lid, how it was pushed in.
Basically damage on all four corners of the Valvoline Ford, and Martin not a very happy camper.
Beyond that, I actually have. I remember pulling up an article on this race, and I actually typed out like the entry list from this race, kind of rearranged them in numerical order, just messing around as a kid. I have that around somewhere, but yeah.
Down the front of the car, and you see it beginning to try to peel some of the sheet metal back away from the front. Just now trying to
but the specifics of this race, yeah, I mean, Davey I remember more clearly than anybody else. Yeah, I don't remember really these other incidents.
Trying to get him back on the racetrack.
And they've assessed the damage on Kowicki's car and have found that there essentially isn't any. But there is on Martin's car, and a lot of it. Well, we mentioned if Harry was going to have enough fuel to go the distance.
He's got no problem now. Yeah. Anyone else who wants to go.
Look at all these cars going behind the wall. It's just getting crowded in the garage.
And we have seen several other drivers hit. Kyle Petty went in on the backstretch, and here they're pushing the Skull Bandit behind the wall. Let's go back to the pits.
This is great video. Look how clear this
sitting
is.
In the car,
man,
pulling his helmet off. Marco, what happened out there, partner?
Jerry, I just messed up. I got into Allen or something there. I guess I just cut down when I shouldn't have. I couldn't see him.
You're running awfully well. Do you think the car is pretty heavily damaged? Can you get back out?
We're going to get back out, try to collect some points.
You know, it's amazing down here, guys. These drivers are being extremely honest about when they make a mistake.
Yeah.
That's a sign of a true professional.
There you go. Just messy out there.
Here. We're under caution. Yes, believe it. Yellow fever here at Bristol International Raceway. And we're under caution once again. Back with more short track action after this. Stay with us.
Come down to the last 150 laps.
Field is down the backstretch, having completed only 1/2 lap of racing under green. Ricky Rudd is the man at the front of the field right now, with Sterling Marlin and Hut Strickland right behind him, trying to get a lap back. Second in the race is Jeff Bodine. Third, Darrell Waltrip. In fourth position.
Go, great run. Marlin trying to get up there.
Dale Earnhardt and then Schrader. And John Kernan is with Harry Gant.
Well, Harry has climbed out of the Skull Bandit Oldsmobile. Harry, a lot of damage. Got some new trailing arms out there. What happened?
Well, lap car running the side of me going through the corner. They've been pretty tough all night.
How tough is the... It seems that you guys can have no problem. It seems like you guys can have no problem racing with each other. How was the track?
It seems okay. Our car run real good. The Skull team has done a super job with the car. We're just kind of laying back, waiting to license.
Oh, there's Harry Gant. The crew is going to work on the car. They're going to replace the trailing arms and try and get...
Yeah, I haven't seen that Stapleton video yet, Stephen, but I got to check it out. That looked like that was really successful, that Lime Rock event. So good for them. Good for Ray Abraham on that.
Mark Martin.
Ooh, Darrell getting into Jeff.
With the possible exception of Bill Elliott, and he has hung right in there.
Yep, Bill just hanging right in there, currently running in, what, 9th position?
Yep, and we'll show you the Fram.
I don't know if Jeff is just blocking Darrell a lot, or
give you an indication exactly where everyone's
Joe trying to get into him.
Elliott 9th,
and Kowicki.
Yep, and Kowicki is 8th.
So that's the only two cars in the top 5 that's having any kind of night at all.
Watching the battle for second position between Jeff and Darrell.
It is really strange to see Bristol without the wraparound stands.
By the way, I want to take this opportunity to say, oh, here comes Waltrip on the inside. A very special hello to a longtime Winston Cup competitor, Tommy Gale. Dick Maycall said he's in the hospital up in Pennsylvania. So, Tommy, if you're listening, get out there soon and come see us.
Yeah, take care, buddy.
And we also
Tommy Gale.
want to pay special thanks as Walter did get the position second from Jeff Bodine. We want to thank 38 Special for their help in putting our Open together for the show. We know they're watching. They're big race fans down in Key West, Florida.
This is 38 Special music. He's that for the Hooters 500 had some 38 Special music in it too. That's cool.
They started off at turn 2. Hutt got out of the way pretty quickly. Walton had to go very high to get around him.
Daryl's dragging something. Well, is he dragging something there?
Spring Darlington, where Darrell called Jeff a turd. I think so. I think Sloth Nerd. I thought it was Dover, but maybe it was Darlington.
Yeah, left rear of that car that he's dragging. Let's see, yeah, he's dragging a piece of aluminum or something on the left rear.
Just a little bit earlier, he'd been hit in that. You can see the left rear quarter panel behind the wheel there that bent up a little bit.
Our congratulations to Chester Klein from Winsboro, North Carolina, today's winner of the beautiful Chevrolet Lumina and the Gillette Halfway Challenge.
Chester Klein, congratulations on the halfway challenge.
Going into the contest for next week's Mountain Dew Southern 500 at Darlington. Write to Gillette Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 2246, St. Petersburg, Florida 33731, 2246. You got to be 18 or over, and we must receive your entry by Saturday, September the 5th to be eligible for next week's Gillette Halfway Challenge. Tune in at 1 o'clock next Sunday for the Mountain Dew Southern 500.
There's a 7 car out in the Kawicki trying to get by Kyle Petty. He makes the pass, takes that spot away from the mellow yellow Pontiac.
You're looking at 4 positions there. Ken Schrader currently in the 5th position. Then Brett Bodine is 6th. Alan Kawicki and then Kyle Petty. Always
Bill Elliott right behind them in the Budweiser Ford.
5th through 9th.
It was Darlington. Okay, cool. Well, thank you. Abe King, 1980.
There's old Bill. Still doesn't have a scratch on his car.
Oh, we got somebody on the entrance to the garage area there.
Darrell Waltrip has just about caught Ricky Rudd.
Almost looked like, I don't think it was Gant. Maybe.
As Rudd has Sterling Marlin right in front of him.
I don't think it was Davey. Davey's car looked pretty used up.
A while back to get one of his laps down. He was 2, but now he has to put the pressure back on because Darrell Waltrip is there.
So it's Rudd, Waltrip, Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, and Kenny Schrader. Top 5.
Probably got about 40 minutes left in this here for folks, for those of you watching for time.
Race here was an 89.
It's coming down to the closing laps of the Bud 500 for 1992, August 1992. Ooh, Ricky Rudd again. This is easily the best I can remember Rudd ever being at Bristol. It's bizarre because you think from the road courses, and especially in Martinsville, he was very good. But Bristol's just a whole different animal.
Yes, it is. There's Waltrip, and he takes the lead.
Ooh, problems with Kyle Petty.
Slow. Did he and Rusty get together coming off turn 4?
I don't know. He seems to be back up to speed now, but
take a replay. Here's Rusty and Kyle Petty right side by side. He and Alan Kawicki got together.
Oh, wow. Look at Quickie fight that thing. Oh, my goodness.
What a great job he did in saving that.
Great save by Kyle. Oh, my goodness.
The car got completely sideways.
Kyle and Allen.
Yep. A year ago, that car would have gone on around.
It would have been gone.
Yep.
So that cement seems
2 iconic paint schemes as well. Steven just won. Yeah, good question. Yeah, the Dave Marcus would be your last place finisher in the 41 car, the Kellogg's car. She didn't seem to get a lot of damage in that earlier wreck, but yes.
This track because he knew that he had a problem with the asphalt that just would not hold under the weight of the car and the speeds, and so he knew he had to do something, and he came up with this idea of concrete, and yeah, I think it will be applauded in the days ahead.
Well, Clay Earls and the folks up in Martinsville did that originally, 10 years ago, I guess.
In the turns.
In the turns, but never has it been done on banks like this. Martinsville bank about.
And this would be Dave Marcus's 7th last place finish of his Cup Series career. Completed 101 of the 500 laps after starting 20th on the grid. And Greg Sachs had just finished last in the previous race at Michigan before Marcus took over in this race.
Lap 358 to 362. Darrell cut the interval from
and the team would finish last once more in the Hooters 500 as Hunt Strickland was in that infamous wreck at the end of lap 1, running into Brett Bodine's car on the apron.
Mark Martin's back on the track now, but many laps down.
Yeah, Kyle can drive. Oh, yeah, this is Kyle Petty in the early 90s in particular, when he was in the Sabatas entry. That was a fast car and a fast team. And Kyle had a great season in 92.
Trying to complete as many laps as he possibly can. We're 374 laps into the 500 lap, Bud 500 at
Surprised to see Mark back out there. All right, coming down the last 125 laps. Hensley still in the top 10.
Statement and hope that everything goes well in the days ahead as the people of South Florida put their property and their lives back together.
Oh, goodness. Hurricane Andrew was around this time, wasn't it? Wow.
That was an unbelievable situation there.
Yeah, and those of us who don't live down there cannot imagine how bad it was and is, but we do certainly think about you.
Looky here. Old Dale Earnhardt is back in the race.
Earnhardt is back.
Yep, 16th to the 28th of August was Hurricane Andrew. So, yeah, day before this race. Wow. There you go. It's alive for Earnhardt. Yep, Steven, there you go. Exactly.
While we're watching that, Brett Bodine was going backwards as Kyle Petty and Bill Elliott got around him.
Ever see Kyle, Bill, and Brett Bodine?
Points leader Bill Elliott and Brett Bodine.
Elliott's in 8th place, so good top 10 finish.
Yep, he's going to extend the points lead even further over Davey after this race. Allison.
Pipe is hanging for the back of Waltrips. Yeah, maybe part of the crush panel or something. Look at that, 94 points. It was 37 coming in. 94 now back. Massive shift.
500 next Sunday afternoon.
This race had a huge effect on the championship.
Moved into 8th now once he moved around Brett Bodine, so that would add 4 more points to him, so it would be 98 points.
And there's the leader.
It looks like Darrell Waltrip is really riding right now.
You're right. Yeah, Darrell's got something hanging off the left rear.
Car seems to be working.
Yeah, again, looks like crush panel or something. Yeah, crush panel.
Take it easy and still pull away.
Yeah, that's right. He's taking
sheet of aluminum.
And maintaining the
385. It looked like it said on the leaderboard there. You can actually see that pretty clear, which is nice.
Fourth here, Rudd, Jeff Bodine, Dale Earnhardt.
That battle seems to have really stabilized. I don't know if
yeah, that's too bad. Robin Pemberton. You're right, AP King, 1980.
They almost look like the guys are just exhausted.
Well, they got to be tired, but I'm sure as many caution flags as we've had here tonight, that has helped them tremendously.
Yep, they have had a chance to relax on occasion. And they only have a little over 100 laps to go now. 391 on the board.
When you're tired in a race car, 10 laps is a long way.
I'm surprised that we still have 9 cars in the lead lap this deep into the race.
21 car of Morgan Shepherd has had an up and down evening. He currently runs in
great onboard footage.
2 laps down. Dick Trickle has also had an up and down evening.
It's a damage to Musgrave after his incident.
Position and is numerous laps down and is still carrying our Ford telemetry.
He's still running 128 miles an hour.
Not bad.
No, not bad at all.
Musgrave must have wrecked in practice or something. It seemed like he had that black rear panel earlier, even before he had that wreck at turn 4.
Can't see. Yeah, it is.
Ted had to spend a good bit of time in the pits after he hit the wall, so he's a number of laps down himself. In fact, he's in 22nd position, some 22 laps behind the leader.
Jimmy Hensley's still running, carrying our Phillips 66 in-car camera.
Ah, Dr. Noyes, 92 car set coming up. Oh, that'll be fantastic. Very exciting. Oh, I didn't count on that for the timing, but glad we get something up here that'd be exciting to see there from the season. Yeah, you can really see the yellow there, the 66 there. Yeah.
much better than before.
Yeah, it shows up a little better. Another Napa Field summary. Boy, they sure don't look like 36-degree banking when you're going that speed.
They look flat. They can be. And from inside a race car, they look flat as well, Bob.
Yes, they do. I remember Daytona. The race there is 31 degrees.
Look at all these multiple lap down drivers. Still running out there. Martin and Gant and Trickle. Then a couple out. Strickland out of the race.
Back then. You could tell people that.
101 laps down for Means. 101 laps down. That's as many laps as Marcus completed in this race.
When they were 22 degrees.
Yes. It was banked its current degree after I quit racing. And thought 22 degrees was pretty high bank for a half-a-mile track.
There's the second place car, Ricky Rudd, Jeff Bodine is
sorry about that.
Earnhardt trying to get alongside. No, didn't make it.
Now Earnhardt, the report was they put the
that was that article from earlier there. Thought I had it on this screen.
Well, they went back in again. They might have. Maybe they did. I don't know. I really don't know if they've got a belt on the alternator or not.
Here we go. Final 100 laps.
400 laps complete.
And you ask why do they need an alternator? That's to keep the battery full of juice to run the fans, the pumps, the cooler end, the transmission. Also, the ignition requires a tremendous amount of juice from the battery.
And Jerry says that they're only got power steering back, but they don't have the alternator back. So you're right, that it's draining a lot of power off of that battery.
Second, third, fourth. Rudd is second. Jeff Bodine third. He can finish there, as you can see. Equal his best finish of the year.
Yeah, Jeff has not won one this year yet. Now they move around Richard Petty. Richard is 16th.
Not a terrible run. It looks like Petty's been lapped at least 3 or 4 times, but he's still in the top 20. Car doesn't look too bad. I mean, the right side beat up a bit, but all things considered.
It's a good angle, that camera down low there off the 4. Rudd has also not won in 92. Best finish of 3rd. Now Jeff to the inside of Ricky, but no.
Means getting out of the way. That was Jim Sauter about to be caught.
It's a good little battle. It's been that way for several laps now.
It's a great battle. Meanwhile, Darrell Waltrip is
he's saying, go ahead, guys. Battle it out.
Please, whatever you do, just keep on battling because I'm riding around and enjoying the evening air.
And he's got about a full straightaway advantage now on second place.
And no traffic at the moment. Just riding easy.
I love this shot in the crowd. I mean, they must have just had to put a camera like just sitting right in the middle of the stands there or something. Or at least it has that look to it. I don't know if they just worked around it or anything, but it's such a wonderful view from, like, you know, actually get the crowd shot of it.
Third and fourth, there is Darrell Waltrip, who is the leader. With now
Waltrip just on cruise control. My goodness.
500. Putting a lap there on
Kowicki's still in 7th.
Michael, he leads the Bud 500 at Bristol Raceway in Tennessee. 416 laps have been completed. Back to second place, and you can see that there's quite a bit of racetrack between first and second.
It's like 417 laps complete.
Followed closely by Jeff Bodine and then Dale Earnhardt. And Jerry Punch has a comment on Rudd's strength.
You know, in the past few years, a number of drivers have really gotten involved with serious exercise and conditioning programs. One of those is Ricky Rudd. He said, you know, where it really pays off is the last 100 laps at a racetrack like Bristol, because that's when everyone else gets real tired, and you're in shape, and you've got a shot at possibly stealing a win because you work out and you're in great physical condition. And this could pay off in his last 85 laps for Rudd tonight.
We've talked all race long about how physically demanding this racetrack is, and you gotta be healthy as far as physical conditioning is concerned to withstand all the punishment.
Another guy is Darrell Waltrip. You know, he said he did not realize how bad out of shape he was until he broke his legs. And he started doing the therapy for the broken leg, and he discovered, hey, I am really out of shape, and he has since then has started a training program, and he is much stronger now than he was a year ago.
The leg injury, I guess, referencing in July 1990 when he was injured before the Pepsi 400, that wreck with Dave Marcus.
It was last July he flipped in Talladega, so it's 2 years ago that he's been training and getting with the weights and eating right and doing the things that you got to do to run a 500-lap race at Bristol.
Right now, Darrell enjoys a 5.5-second lead over Ricky Rudd. It stayed that way for about 4 or 5 laps now.
By the way, Benny, are you still on your seafood diet?
Yeah.
You see food and you just can't resist it.
Everything I see, I eat. That's right.
I love seafood, but I do it a different way. Jared Butch?
You know, before the race, Benny, some of the McClure guys down here in Ernie Irvin's crew were telling me that you worked out the other morning, that you lifted at least 12 or 13 biscuits off a plate at one time and shoved them in your mouth. So you're in some kind of conditioning program too, aren't you?
Jerry, everyone exaggerates. I only ate 6 biscuits. Larry McClure's mother invited me over for breakfast the other morning. Oh, boy. How could Hetty May invited me over? I had 6 biscuits, a couple eggs, and some sausage, and it was wonderful.
Oh, man, I bet there's some good biscuits.
Brett Bodine was leading at one point, ran up in the top 5 for a long time.
The history of camera angles. I like that, Steve. That's a good idea.
Bodine loses a lap.
I mean, you get such fascinating ones for this one just alone.
Now that 8 cars are on the lead lap.
There's DW.
The attrition really hasn't been that bad tonight compared to last night's Grand National race.
8 cars on the lead lap. Ned talked about that a moment ago, and there was horror stories. We talked about the lead car.
Bobby Hamilton again.
Laps in front of the second place car. And there we see Brett Bodine still on the race. Bobby Hamilton still running well, the Country Time Oldsmobile.
Country Time.
Hamilton is currently shown in the 21st position. Right behind him is the 21 car of Morgan Shepherd. He is 14.
There's Harry Gant right down on the inside of Morgan, going from back stretch and back out on the racetrack.
And it's been a long time in the pit area. Michael Waltrip.
Here's Michael Waltrip. Kind of like I was talking about on Twitter, I believe just yesterday, about the changes in the front valence on the Pontiacs. And how that's kind of filled in, and that it has like little indentation on the front of the car.
Taco Bell, Pontiac. He's in 27 spots currently.
There we go. A good through the field feature on Jimmy Means in the Taco Bell car.
Who is many laps down as a result of a spin early in the race in the Kodak Film Chevrolet, just out there riding, trying to get as many points as he can.
There are more 500 days videos coming. I have one script. The script for the next one, the rough draft is done. I just need to revise it before recording it. Second one, I need to, there's another one that I just need to watch the Cup race and finish that rough draft.
He is currently in 29th position.
I'll probably finish the rough draft of that script before I record the other one, because I have another script on Rise of the Field fillers on Carter Racing that I'm almost done with. So I'd like to record 2 scripts and then have the other one, keep writing stuff in the meantime. That's kind of my goal here. Yes, you're right, Troggle. It's Jimmy Means running a 1990 Pontiac. Very correct.
There's the interstate battery car, Dale Jarrett. He spun earlier on with Sterling Marlin. Dale is in 17th spot. He's about 7 laps down. Jimmy Spencer, the Food City Ford. This is the Dick Moroso entry. The first time in Winston Cup racing for a pretty good while. He goes by Dale Jarrett. Let's see, the 20 car is in 20th position, Benny. He had to go in for a little while after he hit the wall.
That is Derek Hope, who has also had contact with the wall. That is in 10th position.
And you can see he's had contact on the inside of the car. Of course, that's when he got into the wall.
Yep.
Wally Dallenbach, Keystone Ford. And let's see, where is he?
About 8:19.
19, yes.
Yes, according to this is the first race. Look at Racing Reference.
Running 18.
Oh, good view of the 71 there, too.
Alan Kowicki, the Hooters Ford, is running in the 7th spot. His car number matches.
Oh, I wonder if it's McGee Trucking on the 71. Kind of looks like Mick something on the hood.
King, Richard Petty still out there. And Richard is 16th. He's 5 5 laps down for our leader, Darrell Waltrip. Rusty Wallace, Miller Jingle Draft Pontiac.
Never did get that lap back. He's still a lap down and in 11th position.
I was about to say, this is the first race for Dick Moroso's team since the Coke 600, where Joe Ruttman finished 35th. Jimmy Spencer now driving the car there in this race. And they would not run again until the 1993 Daytona 500 with Joe Ruttman driving.
That co-owner, Don Miller, took the Bonneville last week and set up a land speed record. Get this, guys, with a flathead roadster, Ford engine, 152.908 miles an hour. Eclipsing the old mark by some 11 miles an hour. So
the catch trick. Oh, thank you, Dr. Noise.
60 years old.
How about that?
Good catch.
There's Bill Elliott, and he's in 9th position and not too far from being lapped.
Oh, this would be take all chances of winning out for Elliott. Wouldn't take all chances out, but it would certainly
be a major setback.
Yeah. Them Waltrip's on the inside, and
he's got him.
Ooh, there we go.
They did touch. Yep.
Yes, they did.
Wow.
Apparently it didn't hurt either one of them, but could have been a rough situation there.
Napa Field summary.
There's Richard Petty on the inside as these guys go right by him.
Looked like Darrell was hurt. We'll keep our eye on him.
Travis Carter makes me nostalgic about trips to Kmart as a kid. Matt Zenny. Yeah, good point. There's always had good 64s. Ours didn't really have as many. Our Kmart out here, but I bet that's awesome. Yours did. McKettrick was an electrical engineer company, says Dr. Noise. He's on the car a majority of the year, either on the hood or just the bottom or rear quarter. Good catch. Thank you.
From Bristol International Raceway has 51 more laps to go, with Darrell Waltrip leading our live ESPN Speed World coverage.
Leading handily.
Yes.
Now he's put enough of them a lap down that there are only 7 left in the lead lap. Alan Kowicki running 7th. He's about 2 seconds out in front of Darrell Waltrip at the moment, so he's safe for a little bit going 11.
All right, Darrell Waltrip has his foot on the throat of the field here, is just utterly crushing him, just like he did in the 80s.
Is looking to add victory number 12 here at Bristol. Many people forget that Harry Gant pulled off that outstanding victory.
Good recommendation, Stephen City.
But this guy finished second.
Yeah, great run Darrell had this. Fantastic.
King Richard Petty, 16th.
And Richard Petty's last Bristol start as a driver.
Rear of the field, but hanging in there on what was otherwise a very rough and demanding racetrack, at least at the beginning of this event.
Yes, he is hanging in there, Bob. And, you know, he's 55 years old. It's got to be tough on him running out there this kind of a racetrack. And we talked to him yesterday about, does he have a better race car?
It looks taped up on the left rear, too.
The boys have really done a super job on the cars. The motors and stuff are just getting better and better, and the whole team, pit stops, all that stuff. I think they're getting better, and I'm going the other way. No, I don't think that I'm near as capable of driving a race car as what I used to be. You know, it's not that I'm not capable of driving it. My focus is so much different now than what it used to be. So even when I'm running a race, I think I'm completely focusing, but I know I'm not. I don't know really how to explain the deal. I guess that what I've been trying to do this year is trying to stay out of trouble is one thing, but you know, I'm trying to enjoy what I'm doing. I mean, you know, if I get to race with somebody and I can do it pretty comfortable, I race with them. If I'm gonna have to strain too much, I sort of let them go. I'm not as competitive. I guess that's what it winds up being. The bottom line, I think the team is probably the best it's been the last 4 or 5 years. And the driver's probably the worst it's been, so still showing up to be about the same.
We've heard some honest comments tonight from many drivers. Mark Martin and Davey Allison both.
Still interesting. Like 3 of the 4 corners, except the right front, look like a different color on Petty's car.
His ability in comparison to his car and the race team. I think that does say that whoever is picked to take over that car next year may have something to look forward to.
I think they have a good.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking requests for races, Dave W. I got some ideas, got some thoughts.
And are
We've had a few suggestions in the chat, but feel free to drop any as well. I'm actually thinking I'm probably going to do one on Friday and then maybe do one more next Friday. I might not do a Tuesday one next week. We'll see. It depends. This is more people than I thought I was going to get on a Tuesday. I thought that this would be pretty slim pickings, but we'll see.
Western Auto mechanic of the race here. He's the crew chief for Darrell Waltrip, and what a job they have done here. Now, by their calculations, they may be 1 or 2 laps short. It's going to be very, very close. Talking about the car number 17 of Darrell Waltrip on fuel. They have told Darrell, they've given him the figures, let him make a decision. Darrell said, I'm going to try to conserve as much fuel as I can. They also know that the 5 car and the 15 car cannot make it. Most will have to come in with about 12 to 14 laps to go. So it's up to Darrell Waltrip to be able to save enough fuel to win it here at Bristol.
That's interesting. I would have thought that most of them could have gone, but they do use a lot of fuel on this racetrack. They put no means a lot of RPM.
There are 38 laps to go. So this race is not over yet, despite the fact that Darrell has a commanding lead at this point.
No, racing the 2000s is a good option. I'm thinking about doing something like that for the Friday before Richmond. Friday before Richmond, I want to do a Richmond Cup race, and I'm thinking one of the ones from like 98, 99, or 2000. That's what I'm thinking for next Friday. For like the Friday after this one. This Friday, I'm not sure which one I'm going to do. That's kind of my thinking going forward on here. So we'll do at least a couple more of these here before the season starts up. It's a compressed weekend this weekend with trucks and Cup Saturday, Sunday. So I think a Friday one there will be a cool way to wrap things up.
Right behind this battle is the 66 car of Jimmy Hensley, and we'll watch now this 3-car battle for position up front.
99 Fall Michigan race. There's a good option. You know, I saw that highlight that was played earlier today. Maybe we'll do that.
Now Jeff passes Morgan. Here comes Dale.
Good pre-Michigan race, yeah.
Kenny Slater has just about caught this group of cars. He was about a half a straightaway behind, and he's now only a couple of car lengths behind. I thought he was.
Yeah, he is. He's right behind Hensley.
I don't know if how many of you all do these after the season starts again, because probably at that point I'll be spending more time working on the produced videos on the channel in between races. Things get really busy during the season. Maybe here and there. Maybe not every week, but maybe here and there. We'll see. I wouldn't rule it out completely. And then, doing some more over the off season too. So we'll find out.
So the Tide crew gets ready for a possible pit stop by Ricky Rudd.
What they were doing there was getting their squirt can full of gasoline so they can squirt some gas in the carburetor if the 5 car runs out.
Okay.
A fuel mileage race at Bristol. How about that?
Will make the decision as to whether he will come in for a fuel stop or try to go the distance. We're 30 laps from the end of the Bud Farm.
Yeah, something in the 80s. I think any option, yeah. We'll keep it a toss up there. Maybe we'll do a poll or something and kind of figure something out.
NASCAR Winston Cup race from Bristol International Raceway. The leader is Darrell Waltrip in car number 17, and there are 24 laps to go in this event. Second place is Ricky Rudd in car number 5.
And he is 11 3/10 seconds behind, so Darrell continues to stretch his lead.
And that much interval on the racetrack. Right behind Ricky
How
is
much
the
it
third-place car
has stretched the field out, for sure.
Followed by Dale Earnhardt, who is in 4th.
And the white car, Kenny Schrader, is in 5th, and Kyle Petty right on Schrader's bumper in 6th.
We do have some good battles on the racetrack. And
I do listen to the MRN races, Craig Lindkamp. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, those are really entertaining. We listened to the 91 Phoenix race when we went down to Phoenix a couple years ago. That was quite good. It's amazing just what they're able to do. And broadcasting a radio race is so different from a TV race. Even back then,
Talk about fuel mileage, Harry Gant, Darrell Waltrip.
I mean, you can have pauses during like a TV broadcast, and just let the pictures tell the story. But I mean, I think they both require the same level of intensity, though. That's where I kind of point out on that.
66 in-car camera being carried by Jimmy Hensley.
2002 Bristol, or is that 99 Sears Point? That was quite good.
Looks like Hensley's outrunning this group here the last few laps because...
the thumbnail for the stream is Petty in the STP 43. Oh, that's perfect. I'm not aware of that. That was completely accidental.
Going to have his first top 10 finish if all goes as it is right now. He is running year so far has been a 13th at Martinsville.
Yeah, 2006 Kansas is good. I was thinking 2005 Michigan is also good. And again, yeah, kind of later, early 2000s races, yeah, for sure. I wouldn't do it 2001, though. That would be the only exception, because I'll do it 500 days, and those will all get covered in due course.
If Waltrip indeed does have to stop a few laps short.
I'd forgotten about Schrader. He does get some great miles.
Yeah.
Earnhardt closes up right on the back bumper of Jeff Bodine.
Kyle Petty is...
Ooh, Kyle bottoming out big time.
Dragging something, sending up a lot of sparks there in the first turn.
There were a couple cars bottoming out. Spencer bottomed out really hard there before he had his issue. Food City on the rear rear TV panel there on Kyle's car. And the rear deck lid.
He has really been working on Kenny's right now.
And he is about to... Ooh, I thought he was going to...
Try it again. He got out. Here's
Rudd Paul.
His fuel. Jerry Punch is right there.
Last time by, he said it's starting to sputter. It's going to sputter. I'm coming in, so they jumped over the wall. And here's the Tide Chevrolet. They don't want to kill the engine. You hear him revving the engine. They can't get the gas in. Now they finally get
Oh, gosh. Delay there.
4.3 seconds he's away.
Going very, very slowly down pit road.
And the Motorcraft crew will try to put at least a dash of fuel in Bodine's Ford Thunderbird. He's very gently moved the car down pit road. Remember, 35 miles an hour, but he is in a hurry. Headed back to turn 1, likewise in 4.3 seconds.
First race broadcast in HD. I mean, a lot of good options. I'm seeing good guesses on these. Your good ideas. We'll figure something out. But yeah, I'm thinking at least 2 more of these. I'm thinking,
Earnhardt went in on the apron of the racetrack.
One more on Friday and another one the following Friday. I think that'll probably be the most likely plan. I do have some stuff I'm going to catch up on here next week.
Driving by Brett Bodine just to move up the racetrack and give him the room that he needed to dash in there.
Less than 10 laps to go now for Darrell Waltrip.
Excuse me. Coming down to it.
Number 3, this will complete lap 491, 9 to go.
And Jeff Bodine ended up with about a straightaway lead on Ricky Rudd in that fuel stop exchange. They both went in, spent about the same time, and Jeff really got in and out the pits very quick.
It's amazing after Darrell loses a fuel mileage race to Harry Gant in Michigan. Now he's going to have to try to do fuel mileage here.
With 8 laps to go now. However, his team is there with the gas can if they need it.
They're ready. They've got it ready.
Dragging from the left rear of the car.
Yeah, I'm not sure the intervals here. I mean, it seems like he's about half a lap ahead of Earnhardt and Bodine.
No problem with it, though. And Jeff Bodine is off the pace down the front straightaway.
He and Earnhardt battling side by side.
Well, we see Hensley going by.
Yeah, Jeff is off the pace. Significantly.
And he's coming back in the pits.
Yep. He's got a flat tire, apparently, and will bring the
goodness. Another run goes by the wayside.
5 laps, and so the very good run that Jeff Bodine had tonight is not going to show that way in the final standings.
Well, with just 5 laps to go.
Yeah, just 5 to
man,
go.
oh man.
For Darrell Waltrip. Now just 4 laps to go. 2 miles. Doesn't have enough fuel to go all the way.
Come down to it.
I'll bet he'll make it.
It's a good question, Matt Zenny. I'm not sure how much of he was buying from Hendrick at the time. I'm not sure exactly what terms they parted ways on.
He's still there. He hasn't went in the pits yet.
2 laps to go for Darrell Waltrip. Next time around be the white flag. And Darrell will have his 2nd win of 1992. Going with his victory at Pocono. It'll be his 12th victory at Bristol International Raceway and his 7th win in the fall race, the night race. White flag is out. He's on his final lap. Less than a half mile to go now. Looks like the crew is celebrating already. They know he's got a one. He can probably coast the rest of the way. Here's Waltrip off of corner number 4, and the checkered flag waves. Darrell Waltrip has won the Bud 500 at Bristol.
There you go.
Jay Gelder, the mechanic of the race, works his magic, takes Darrell to the victory. Second position goes to Dale Earnhardt. Third was Schrader. Fourth, Kyle Petty. And in fifth position was, I believe,
Alan Kowicki.
Was it Kowicki?
Alan Kowicki finished fifth. Bill Elliott
fifth place.
So he will definitely add to his points lead over Davey Allison, Gant, and the others. Darrell Waltrip pulls his car to the Union 76.
Darrell wins, leading the final 133 laps in this one.
Very, very happy crew right here. Jake Elder getting congratulations all around. Well, Jake, not a bad night for you, mechanic of the race. You also win the race, a good running car. It wasn't just fuel mileage tonight that won it for you guys.
That's a good race tonight. I'm glad to see Darrell win a race like this. For the whole crew, too. They done a good job. Everybody done a good job tonight.
You guys apparently found something early on where you can work in that high groove. Was that the game plan going in here, that you figured you'd get up there and run as well as you did?
Well, yeah, we've been working on that all week up here. We can run high or low. It seemed like he could run a little bit better high and a good low.
Well, you see the big smile on Jake Elder. We'll let you go to victory lane now to visit with a very happy Darrell Waltrip.
Victory lane, a reminder that baseball tonight is coming up in just a few minutes. Let's go down now to our Kodak Gold film.
There you go. Glad you enjoyed Joy Collecting. Western Auto's Auto Parts Store.
I wish you would show some emotion. You danced on top of the car. You turned somersaults trying to get in here. Congratulations.
Honey, it's me again in Victory Lane with the, for the kid, for Sarah, Caitlin, Kearns, Waltrip. One time, drove my heart out, baby doll. Drove my heart out for you.
Now wait,
come closer for you.
Oh, he's not happy about that. Oh, spraying a little Gatorade. Let me ask you now. Wait a minute. You had Jessica. You won.
Yeah, there you go.
You had Sarah, Caitlin, Kearns, Waltrip. You won. What does that mean for Stevie at home?
Well, there's more rewards than having kids than I thought there was. No. It just means that I get really pumped up. I feel good, and Stevie's feeling good, and the baby's great. And I just come here with a good attitude, and my team is so great, and they're doing a great job. Praise God for a good night, for a win. Oh, everything I could hope for. What a week. What a year. What a day.
And he certainly is excited, and rightfully so. An excited new father and a winner here at Bristol International Raceway as Darrell Waltrip picks up win number 2 for 1992.
And it was the 83rd win of his career for Darrell Waltrip. It comes
there was Zubaz hat, so that's awesome.
Bristol. We'll be back in a moment. Bristol now begins to make its way out of this racetrack after having seen Darrell Waltrip win the NASCAR Bud 500 at Bristol Raceway. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Valvoline. People who know use
fantastic
Valvoline.
run. Great victory lane speech too.
Home Videos, Richard Petty and STP, available at video and retail stores nationwide. And by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. Finishing fourth was Kyle Petty. Here's John Kernan.
Well, Kyle Petty's right now conducting a radio interview. We'll step in here, Kyle. The way the race started
the hat's
out,
not bright enough.
As your car looked in the rear end, how did you finish fourth?
I don't know. Like I told you before, when Schrader got to third, I knew the race was over with. Because Schrader always either runs third here or demolishes a car. But, we had a great crew. Everything worked good all day long. Everything was perfect for us. We got in that first wreck down there, and that's just because I can't qualify and qualified terrible. And, and then we got in a wreck with Mark and them and knocked it off in the right rear. But, the
doesn't it? The race does hold up well.
We had to pit on the backstretch, and they kept putting you up front and putting you up front. And, we just had a great day with the...
It just goes to prove, guys, it doesn't have to be a beautiful car to finish well.
Nothing mellow about it.
Finishes in fourth position here at Bristol tonight. We've got a lot of other statistics to bring you and some interviews, and we'll do that when we come back in a moment. Here are the unofficial results of the NASCAR Bud 500 here at Bristol. And while we look at the unofficial rundown, we'll remind you that baseball tonight is coming up in just a few moments with Tom.
It's Hensley in 7th. Great run. 1 year before his great run with Quickies car.
Blue Jays, and of course, all the action from the world of baseball tonight.
Derek Cope in 12th.
I would
Richard Petty,
have
16th.
to say that the
Jim Sauter,
experiment
18th.
in concrete racetracks has been a pretty darn good success.
Oh, I think so. I think that we'll hear a lot of favorable comments from the drivers. And, Benny, I don't think Darrell Waltrip looks pretty fresh when he gets out of that race car, so maybe it wasn't as tiring on them as we thought it would be.
No, I really thought it would be tougher than that, because usually Darrell Waltrip, when he's 1 year, he got out sitting on the ground doing the interview. He was jumping around like he was fresh.
Here are the points. Bill Elliott now has a 109-point advantage over Davey Allison.
Wow.
And the top 5,
Just a
Kowicki,
massive
by the way,
turnaround.
moves back into 3rd. The top 5 are separated
See, Gank
by
got in the wreck, so that
342
Quickie gets the
as
top
we
3.
head for the Mountain Dew Southern 500 next Sunday. Darrell Waltrip, who carried the Western Auto Chevrolet to victory lane here tonight. Thanks to Ned Jarrett and Benny Parsons and John Curtin and Jerry Punch. We'll see you later. This is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.
Well, a jubilant Darrell Waltrip in victory lane after winning the Bud 500 at Bristol. Is, as they said, the second win of the season, second of 3 wins that season. He would go on to win the Southern 500 the following week in a rain-shortened event that Davey Allison looked like he was going to win the Winston Million, but then a rainstorm came in and cut the race short. Miscommunication on the crew's part there about when to pit. Waltrip finds himself in just the right spot, and that turned out to be the final win of Waltrip's career. So the 1992 season rolled on from here, and of course the top 3 in points after this race would settle the championship that November in Atlanta. So that will do it for the stream here tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I'm planning on doing another one of these this Friday. I haven't quite decided on which race it's going to be, but definitely feel free to mention your suggestions in the comments here as well if you're watching this after the fact, and we'll do another one here. So looking to do it this Friday and next Friday. I think we'll do that going forward here, and we'll do that. And yeah, we'll have some fun here again. So thank you again, everyone, for tuning in, and I'll see you all next time.